Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
Qin Luo squinted out over the balcony, unimpressed. "Why the fuss?" he muttered. But then he paused. The courtyard below was swarming. Vans were parked in tight formation like an army encampment. People bustled about with camera gear slung over shoulders, arguing with dorm staff. And among the chaos, he spotted familiar faces, like the news anchor who had interviewed him just last month. "Wait, already?" Qin Luo's eye twitched. News travels faster than gossip in the boys' dorm. "I'm checking online," said Gong Yi, the round-faced roommate already tapping away on his phone. A few seconds later, he whistled. Yanda's homepage. Headline. He turned the screen toward Qin Luo. Big, bold font. "A strong youth makes a strong nation. 17-year-old solves Zhou's theorem." Qin Luo rubbed his temples. "Boss," Gong Yi said solemnly, "when they film the interview, can I, get in a shot?" Qin Luo deadpanned. "You want to go?" "I don't even want to go." Despite giving 2 interviews already, he hadn't gained a single point of academic credit for it. The camera wasn't a research paper. If he had that kind of free time, he'd rather read 2 books. Decision made. He grabbed his things and bolted for the door. But he wasn't fast enough. Just as Qin Luo reached the stairs, he was ambushed by a wave of reporters. Microphones surged forward like piranhas. "Hello, classmate. Do you know where Qin Luo is?" Without missing a beat, Qin Luo jabbed a finger over his shoulder. The chubby guy in the back. And he slipped off. "You wanted to be on TV, right, Gong Yi? Enjoy the spotlight." "Thank you," the reporter called back. But just as he thought he'd made it out clean, "Stop!" A crisp voice rang out. A familiar, sharp-eyed young reporter squeezed past the others, her lips curled in a knowing smile. "Student Qin Luo, where do you think you're going?" She held out her recorder, already rolling. "Can you tell us how you prove Zhou's conjecture? What sparked your inspiration? What are your thoughts on Professor Deline from Princeton praising your work so highly? Were you really at the bottom of the class just 3 months ago? What changed?" Qin Luo froze. 10 questions in 10 seconds. Microphones, cameras, recorders, flashing lights. His mind went blank. Language? What language? Should I just tell him I got a cheat system in my dreams? No. They'd think I'm crazy, right? Just when he was about to break into a sprint, help arrived. "Make way, step aside, please. Don't block the dorm entrance." Several men in black suits pushed through the crowd, their presence enough to part the sea of reporters. Behind them came familiar faces, Professor Wang Xuetzai, Song Baohua, and 2 more middle-aged men Qin Luo didn't recognize. They moved with calm authority, heads high, posture straight, walking like tigers, exuding aura like kings. Even the reporters fell silent in awe. Qin Luo had a hunch. These weren't just school leaders. This was going to be even bigger than he thought. Just as Qin Luo was still trying to figure out who the sharply dressed man approaching him was, the man walked right up and extended a firm hand. "Qin Luo, congratulations," he said warmly. Caught off guard, Qin Luo quickly shook his hand and replied politely, "Thank you, teacher." The man chuckled. "Teacher? No, I'm not worthy of that title, at least not in the academic sense," he said with a booming laugh. That threw Qin Luo off even more. Not a teacher, but still commands this much respect? There was something powerful about this man's presence. His posture, the way others reacted to him. Qin Luo could tell this wasn't just anyone. "There's no ranking in learning," Qin Luo said with a smile. "Whoever can teach is a teacher. Your experience is something I can learn from." The man laughed again, more delighted this time. "I like this kid." He clapped Qin Luo on the shoulder. "China needs more Qin Luos like you." That one line hit like a thunderclap. All the officials, staff, and reporters nearby went wide-eyed. Even the seasoned professors accompanying the man looked stunned. Qin Luo blinked. "Wait, did he just say what I think he said?" Wang Xuetzai, standing beside him, let out a half-laugh, half-sigh, and nudged Qin Luo's back. "Well, looks like you've impressed Teacher Tong. Tong Bojun." The name echoed in Qin Luo's mind. Of course, he'd seen this man on TV before, giving talks on national education and science reform. One of the most respected academic leaders in the country. And now he was praising him? Teacher Tong, that's far too generous, Qin Luo said quickly, trying to stay humble. Tong Bojun gave him a kind look. Modest too. Good. Then he straightened up, face serious again. Qin Luo, I'm not just speaking for myself, but also on behalf of Yanda University. Thank you for your contribution. That caught Qin Luo off guard even more. My contribution? He asked. I only saw the math problem. Tong Bojun shook his head slowly. Not just a problem. You proved a conjecture that's stumped mathematicians for generations. This isn't just a win for math. It's a breakthrough that will ripple across science, across disciplines. It's the kind of work that inspires. Qin Luo paused. He hadn't really thought about it like that. Tong Bojun smiled. If proving this doesn't deserve our thanks, then what does? Fair enough. Qin Luo nodded, a bit sheepish. I'll keep working hard. That response earned a loud laugh from Tong Bojun. Good. Well said. He leaned in slightly. I hear your next target is gold box conjecture? Qin Luo nodded slowly. It's on my list. Then Tong Bojun pulled a formal-looking envelope from inside a jacket and handed it over. How would you feel about continuing your research at Yenjing University? And just like that, the true purpose of the visit became clear. A hush fell over the crowd. Even the reporters forgot to click their cameras for a moment. Tong Bojun came in person. Just to recruit me? Then the flashes resumed. Rapid fire. Reporters whispered excitedly, already drafting headlines in their minds. Top talent. Tong Bojun personally recruits math prodigy. Yenjing extends hand to genius who solved Zhou's conjecture. When brilliance speaks, a national treasure in the making. But just as they were preparing to hear Qin Luo's reply, he opened his mouth, and what came out left them all stunned. Teacher Tong, I haven't considered this issue yet. Qin Luo refused with a smile. Quiet, deathly quiet. Qin Luo's words made the whole dormitory fall into dead silence. The reporters were even more confused. What did they hear? Qin Luo actually refused. He turned down Tong Bojun's invitation. Flying to the top, making steady progress, such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Qin Luo actually gave up on his own initiative? Gulu gulu. After a while, everyone swallowed in unison. Tong Bojun's outstretched right hand froze in the air. Originally, what he thought was that after Qin Luo accepted, he was encouraging Qin Luo, but never expected that Qin Luo would refuse so decisively. He was not even given a chance to refute. Withdrew his right hand in embarrassment, Tong Bojun asked with a smile, Can I know the reason? My main goal now is to win the IMO gold medal. Qin Luo laughed. Good. No matter where you are, you will win glory for the country. Tong Bojun smiled heartily. While speaking, he patted Qin Luo's shoulder heavily. I'm waiting to see when you get on the podium. Most definitely. After all, Tong Bojun is a busy man, and he doesn't have much time to waste. After explaining some theories about education and rejuvenating the country in front of the camera, he left a handsome back and disappeared into the crowd. Immediately afterwards, Qin Luo was surprised to find that after Tong Bojun left, the surrounding media also dispersed a lot. Forehead. There's a feeling of being rubbed. Fortunately, the final result was good. Tong Bojun also shared a lot of troubles for himself. After another 10 minutes, Qin Luo finally finished the interview. At this time, Wang Xuetzai and others walked over with smiles. He looked at the library card in Qin Luo's hand and asked with a smile, Go to the library? Well, look for inspiration. Maybe it will be useful to prove gold box conjecture. Qin Luo nodded. Ever since he entered the Palace of Academics, Qin Luo has not read the books carefully since he can get involved with some academic knowledge. He just took this opportunity to get acquainted with Yanda, the largest library in the country. It's just on the way, let's go together. Before Qin Luo could answer, Wang Xuetzai and others had already walked forward. It's fine for one person to drop by, but what's the situation if 3 people drop by? But after thinking about it, Qin Luo still followed. Anyway, I have a lot of meat. The dormitory building was not far from the library, and several people walked slowly along the artificial lake. Walking on the road, Wang Xuezai suddenly smiled and said, "Why don't you come to Yanda? Don't tell me such nonsense about preparing for IMO. IMO, you don't even think about it. Who said you didn't take it to heart? I was so concerned about whether it was good or not that I almost put it in my pocket. I don't know if the gold medal is pure gold," Qin Luo thought to himself. But think about it for yourself. Qin Luo really doesn't know how to say it. As a top student, he can't do such out-of-the-box things. "Actually, I plan to go to Cambridge," Qin Luo said honestly. In front of these big cows, he was really embarrassed to tell lies. Cambridge? The footsteps of the three paused slightly. Just when Qin Luo thought they would reprimand him, Wang Xuezai suddenly turned his head and asked seriously, "Why didn't you choose Oxford?" The corner of Qin Luo's mouth twitched. Wang Xuezai's answer caught him off guard, and the explanation he had prepared in advance suddenly disappeared. "Because Oxford's name doesn't sound good." Qin Luo gritted his teeth and said. The corner of Wang Xuezai's mouth twitched, completely speechless. Give up the best school in the world for mathematics because the name doesn't sound good? Is this the world of geniuses? The three old men looked at each other. A look of helplessness flashed in their pupils. However, they could not find any reason to refute Qin Luo. In less than half a year, from a scumbag to a top student, he is now able to complete academic projects independently. There are only a handful of people in the world who can achieve such achievements at such a young age. Among the Chinese, only Qiu Qingtong and Tao Zhishuan can do it. After clearing up his emotions, Wang Xuezai asked again, "By the way, are you really planning to study gold box conjecture?" Thinking about Zhou's conjecture brought Qin Luo tens of thousands of points, and a non-local collapse theory earned a lot of money. And world-class theories like Goldbach, the problem of the century. Once proven, what picture will appear at that time? Too many points to count. One thing, I have to remind you in advance, as far as we know now, your talent is reflected in the field of functional functions, and it is very difficult to deal with Goldbach's conjecture. Wang Xuezai said helplessly, "It's okay, I have plenty of time, I can take my time." Qin Luo smiled at a system guy. Is talent an issue for him? As long as he wants, not just mathematics, he could get full marks in every subject. I mean, your energy is limited, and your heart should be mainly focused on one field. Wang Xuezai gritted his teeth and said. His words were already so clear, but why couldn't Qin Luo understand? "Well, I know." Qin Luo nodded and said, "I will move on." Speechless. Only when he hits a wall again will he know how to turn back. Wang Xuezai's forehead tightened, and he could only smile wryly in his heart. Then the king's courtyard. Shall I go first? Hurry up and get out. Qin Luo, in the first second, I said hello to everyone, but in the next second, I turned my face and refused to recognize anyone. Man is a fickle animal. After separating from Wang Xuezai, Qin Luo hurried towards the library. Upgrade, upgrade. He only has an upgrade in mind now. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure from behind at the library door. Lin Shanshan. Coincidentally, Lin Shanshan also saw him, so her eyes lit up and she ran over immediately. Upgrade, upgrade. Qin Luo was still muttering. What upgrade? Lin Shanshan asked curiously. It's nothing. Qin Luo glanced at him lightly, shook his head, and said, Student Qin, don't you treat your guests to dinner when you become popular? Lin Shanshan said. Oh, good. Qin Luo nodded. Really? Lin Shanshan's eyes lit up, but the next second he had a puzzled expression on his face. This is not like your style. Do you eat or not? What to eat? Malatang. If possible, Lin Shanshan would like to slap Qin Luo in the face. Malatang, is that food for girls? Looking at the expression on Lin Shanshan's face, Qin Luo was full of doubts. Isn't malatang delicious? To be honest, Qin Luo was already mentally prepared for the fact that he became angry. Yanjing TV station and internet media all started reporting on Qin Luo. Shocked, the senior 3 students of Beishan No Middle School solved the world-class number theory problem overnight. The listener is sad, and the hearer is silent. The problem that has plagued the mathematics world for 18 years will finally be solved. World Journal of Mathematics, Huaxiao Prodigy won the front-page headline. A series of press releases almost failed to tout Qin Luo as a once-used star. The popularity of the media inevitably led to Qin Luo once again appearing on the trending list. Overnight, among the top 10 most searched topics on Sina Weibo, Qin Luo dominated the top 3 by himself, and his limelight even overshadowed the recently divorced big star in the entertainment industry. Moreover, what is even more frightening is that the Huaxia Daily made a special report on Qin Luo, from Qin Luo's school experience to his family situation and to his rapid progress in the recent period. Nomination. The article The Plan to Cultivate a Top Student vividly displayed the image of Qin Luo. For a while, the entire Huaxia Daily comment section exploded. Wow, this is too powerful. 60 days from a scumbag to a top student. Is he drinking life? No. Dashes water? Doubts. The upstairs is wrong. I think he drank 6 walnuts. If you talk too much, you'll cry. We are all human. Why is his disc so protruding? Because he want to make up lessons. Upstairs, are you happy now? Well, I'm very happy. Seeing the commotion caused by herself on the internet, Qin Luo was elated. He was wondering if he should create an account to interact with everyone. Build it as soon as you say it. Turn on the computer. Qin Luo quickly registered a Weibo account. The name is very simple. Master Lonely. Ding. The host has successfully registered a Weibo account, and the computer ability has increased by LV1. Ding. The mission is open. There is no class for teaching. Please Xuexian design an app to spread the glory of Xuexian to the world. Reward, Xueba value plus 5,000, one chance to draw a lottery. Qin Luo. What's wrong with this thing? Qin Luo was a little confused, so he fell into deep thought. It has been detected that a large number of host brain cells have died, and the system generation plan, 20%, 50%, 70%, has been completed. Studying the app, developing a plan, requires a computer specialization level LV3 and requires 11,100 points of mastery. At 11,100 points, Qin Luo raised his eyebrows. He used to think that this was an astronomical figure that was out of reach, but now it is all small money. I'm sorry that this Xueba is so capricious. Pressing the upgrade button casually, a crisp system upgrade prompt came from Qin Luo's ears. Congratulations to the host. The computer level has increased to LV2. Congratulations to the host. The computer level has increased to LV3. The next moment, a complete development plan appeared in Qin Luo's mind. The function of the app is very simple. Grab the annual college entrance examination questions and then combine them into a complete set of test papers for candidates to use, and it has the function of timing and automatic submission of test papers. And the algorithm is very simple, very easy to implement. Opening the Word, Qin Luo put both hands on the keyboard and started to work with all his strength. After working for a long time, Qin Luo copied the complete program into the USB disk at 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, just wait for the program to be turned into a real app that can run, and then call it a day. People are like iron. Rice is like steel. If you don't eat a meal, you will be hungry. Qin Luo admits that he is a top student, but a top student also needs to eat. Go downstairs for food. But as soon as Qin Luo walked to the door, Qin Luo was stunned. A large group of people downstairs were discussing something intensely, and not far away, a big red banner was waving in the wind. Yanjing University, Department of Computer App Development Competition. Number 1 rewards 2 Ruanmei coins. If you have an app, the potential is great, and you can even get a chance for commercial capital injection. Hey, do you get a pillow when you doze off? Qin Luo just got the app development plan, and now there's an app design competition. With brisk steps, Qin Luo walked towards the registration office. Student Qin, do you want to sign up? The person in charge of the reception was a female senior. She was very good-looking. She was wearing a white sportswear on her upper body and a pair of white stockings on her lower body, showing a pair of tall, beautiful legs. Qin Luo looked at it several times curiously, and he really wanted to ask the other party a question. Aren't you cold? In November, Yanjing has entered late autumn, and the temperature has plummeted from 11 degrees in summer to more than 30 degrees. Can a pair of stockings keep you warm? Seemingly aware of Qin Luo's gaze, the young lady smiled slightly, squinted her eyes, and said, "Hee hee, classmate Qin, that is an artifact with bare legs." Eh. Qin Luo's mouth twitched wildly. An evil invention. "By the way, student Qin, do you want to sign up?" the young lady asked with a smile. "Report. Of course you have to report," Qin Luolang said. "As a master of level 3 computer ability, isn't it easy to catch an app development competition?" Quiet. The entire computer department registration point was silent. In just these 2 days, Qin Luo's name has spread throughout Yenching University. Almost no one does not know his name, and the computer department is the same. But now, this math genius named Qin Luo has signed up for the app development competition of the Department of Computer Science. Fuck, he can't be serious, can he? Even if he is a top student, it's impossible for him to be proficient in everything. Student, this is the computer department. It's about app development, not a math competition. For a time, everyone exclaimed, "Student Qin, why don't you think about it again?" The young lady reminded kindly. She just asked Qin Luo casually about inviting Qin Luo to compete, but she never thought that he would really participate. "Don't think about it. When will it start?" "Tomorrow." "Okay." With a few strokes, Qin Luo filled out the registration form, turned around, and left. "Everyone, please bring me a bottle of essential oil. I want to wake up my mind." Time passed quickly, and it was already the next day in a blink of an eye. The annual Yenching University Department of Computer Science and App Development Contest officially kicked off. As one of the most famous schools in China, Yenching University is naturally not lacking in attention, and the annual app development competition has attracted even more attention. Almost every year in the competition, several apps with unlimited potential will emerge. Journey, Cloud Music, Are You Hungry, etc. are all from the Department of Computer Science, Yenching University. Early in the morning, the stage of the Department of Computer Science was already occupied by a group of PRs from software development companies. Apps appeared one after another, among which was a ticket-grabbing app that attracted major software companies to show their favor. Suddenly, the crowd began to commotion, and everyone's eyes looked into the distance. I saw that Qin Luo was walking slowly. "That seems to be Qin Luo. It looks a bit like it, but what is he doing here? Is he also here to participate in the competition?" Someone in the crowd muttered. Then he was sneered at by others. "Qin Luo is a genius in mathematics, but mathematics belongs to mathematics and has nothing to do with computers. He came to participate in the computer competition. Impossible if you think about it." However, in the next second, all of them froze in place. Qin Luo trotted all the way and ran onto the stage. Gulu, he really wants to compete. For a time, everyone was dumbfounded. The eyes they looked at Qin Luo were full of disbelief. Under the disbelieving gazes of everyone, Qin Luo took out the computer from his backpack and began typing on the keyboard with both hands. He just programmed on the spot? Everyone was dumbfounded. As headhunters of major companies, it's not that they haven't seen talented programmers, but it's the first time they've seen a programmer writing a program on the spot. "Classmates, can we be more reliable?" "Student Qin, if you're not ready, you can come back later," the long-legged host said awkwardly. "No need, I've already done it." While speaking, Qin Luo had already stood up, connected the computer to the screen, and used the screen projection technology to directly project the app onto the LED screen. The next moment, an app starts running. Chalk the entrance exam. This is an app that Qin Luo programmed overnight and produced on the spot. The light blue interface is fresh and elegant, and the white buttons are white and simple. Random questions, automatic paper formation, thinking analysis, everything. Looking at the smooth-running software in front of me, everyone was taken aback for a moment, and then they all stayed where they were. Searching questions, analyzing, thinking. Almost all the process of a question is covered. My dear, can a high school student develop an app of this level? Are there really geniuses in this world? Question app. How did he come up with this idea? After a brief silence, the scene suddenly erupted like a tsunami of exclamation. A group of high school students from the computer science department froze in place. No one could have imagined that Qin Luo actually developed an app, and it was an app with complete content and excellent creativity. More importantly, he actually produced it on the spot. Damn it, what a fucking monster. He felt like he was a computer genius put off by math. The hostess, the young lady, was even more stunned. It never occurred to her that things would happen like this. Thinking of what she said just now, she blushed, wishing she could find a crack in the ground and slip in. The development competition is still going on, but when Qin Luo's app debuted, everything after that became dull. At 11.40, the competition officially came to an end. This year's app development competition, the champion is Qin Luo. With the announcement of the host lady, Qin Luo won the championship. With 2 yuan in hand, Qin Luo beamed. At this moment, he suddenly felt that being a top student was quite interesting. Once upon a time, he was just a scumbag, and his dream of becoming big was to enter a university, find a job, earn 3,000 yuan a month, and live his life like a salted fish. But now, with his hands, 2 yuan was credited. 3,000 versus 2, Qin Luo chose to be a top student. Student Qin, our Department of Computer Science, is celebrating at the Yinjing Hotel tonight. Please be sure to attend on time. Just when Qin Luo was intoxicated by the impact of 2 yuan, a hearty voice came from behind. I saw a man who was about 56 years old came over. Like many people who work on computers, he was a little bald on the top of his head. Yinjing Hotel? Qin Luo wasn't very interested. Instead of spending hours going to a meal, it is better to brush a few books in the dormitory. As if seeing Qin Luo's doubts, the teacher continued. This time, many companies' public relations will participate. PR boring. Is Qin Luo the kind of person who cares about appearance? There are also many big names in software companies. If you're lucky, you can get millions of dollars in investment. Million investment? A smile appeared on Qin Luo's face, but the smile quickly disappeared. Wait, it seems that he's going to invite Lin Shanshan to eat malatang tonight. Forget it, it's still a pigeon. Anyway, it's not once or twice. For Qin Luo, instead of eating malatang with Lin Shanshan, it is more attractive to eat and drink in a hotel and be worth millions. And there's a lot of PR. Well, the female publicist. In this way, Qin Luo released Lin Shanshan's pigeon without any shame. At about 5:30 in the afternoon, Qin Luo got into Mr. Zhao's car. Along the way, Zhao Feng crazily instilled investment ideas in him, such as market analysis, N1 standards, and project innovations. Well, it makes sense, but Qin Luo couldn't listen. After sitting for about 30 minutes, everyone came to Yinjing Hotel. But in the next second, Qin Luo was dumbfounded. Originally, he had imagined that there would be many female PRs participating in the celebration, but in reality, it was all bosses in suits and leather shoes. They talked and laughed and greeted each other. Qin Luo felt that he should change his clothes, otherwise it would be difficult to blend in. Ding! The system has detected the psychological activity of the host, and the task is released, the radiant learning god. Xueba is the sun. Wherever Xueba goes, there is a stage. The world is centered on Xueba. Please host everyone and get 300 million financing. Reward for mastery value plus 6,666. What do you mean? The system is making me coquettish. Qin Luo read it carefully several times, and finally he confirmed the meaning of the system. Thinking of this, Qin Luo strode into the hall with his head held high. That look of contemptuously watching the world seems to say that he is the protagonist. Seeing this scene, teacher Zhao froze in place. Qin Luo's performance exceeded his expectations. Even the comforting words that had been prepared in his stomach were stillborn. In his imagination, when encountering such a big occasion, Qin Luo should always hesitate or show timidity. But now Qin Luo is like a normal person. Quite a look. Even if you are worth billions, you are not as rich as me anyway. Well, it's very similar to national husband Song Xiao. In Hall 1 on the second floor of the hotel, the red carpet is spread all the way from the elevator to the main entrance. and more than a dozen round tables are placed inside, just like the company's annual meeting. Young men in various suits and leather shoes held goblets and smiled happily. Qin Luo was wondering if he should also serve a glass of red wine to pretend to be aggressive. At this moment, a well-dressed, middle-aged man walked over with 2 glasses of red wine. The corner of his mouth lifted into a smile, and he looked at Qin Luo with gentle eyes. "Ms. Zhao, this is Qin Luo." "Sure enough, a hero is a boy," he said with a smile. "This is the senior I told you about. He is now the chairman of Choyang Technology, Xiaojun. The total net worth exceeds million. Zhao Feng introduced with a smile. 200 million. Qin Luo was shocked. How old is he? No more than 30 years old, but he is now worth hundreds of millions. Think about yourself worth 2 yuan and someone else's worth 1 million yuan. The difference is more than 30 frowny face dash. If only I could share a little. Not too much. Even if it is only 1%, it is 200 million, which is almost enough to complete the task. As if seeing Qin Luo's strangeness, Zhao Feng patted him on the shoulder and grinned. Our computer has no other advantage. It just makes money fast. Is student Qin interested in learning computers from me? 17 or 18 years old is the age that can't stand the most temptation. As long as there is a little temptation, Qin Luo will be easy to catch. Zhao Feng is full of confidence in this. Make money fast. Qin Luo's eyes lit up, but after thinking about it, he shook his head. I have to participate in the IMO in a few days, and then I have to prepare for the college entrance examination. I don't have time for now. Almost forgot you're still in high school, Zhao Feng said with a smile. But it doesn't matter. I can wait for you. At the age of 17 or 18, a fully functional app can be developed. After systematic study, Qin Luo's future is limitless. It may be possible to win the first Turing Award for Huaxia. Wait. The corner of Qin Luo's mouth twitched, unable to speak. Fortunately, someone rescued him at this time. Teacher Zhao and classmate Qin are the favorites of the Department of Mathematics. If you rob people so blatantly, aren't you afraid that Wang Yuan will be in a hurry with you? Xiao Jun, who had been silent all the time, finally spoke up. Wang Xuetzai, he dares. Zhao Feng glared at him, but his tone of voice weakened by 2 points. Xiao Jun covered his mouth and snickered. Zhao Feng has such a temperament, soft-hearted and hard-spoken. By the way, Qin, I heard that Mr. Zhao said that you have developed an app for brushing questions. To be precise, it is the Chalk College entrance examination. Qin Luo smiled and nodded. Yes. Ow! Is there a market? So far, only Qin Luo has used it alone. Does this count as a market? Although there was something Imimpi wanted to say in his heart, but Qin Luo endured the words. It's not bad. The customer experience is excellent, and all the used ones are good. As for the number of users, is that the problem? Qin Luo didn't know at all. That's okay. Xiao Jun glanced at Qin Luo in surprise and said with a smile, Has the angel investment raised money yet? Angel investment? Did you say that the app developed yesterday has been financed? If it wasn't for the fact that the other party was a big shot worth 2 million yuan, Qin Luo's high whip legs would have been kicked on his head. This guy is deliberately trying to make fun of himself. Not yet, but should be soon, Qin Luo said. As a highly appealing academic master, Qin Luo thinks that everyone should invest. How much do you plan to raise? Xiao Jun raised his eyebrows, becoming interested. 300 million. Qin Luo laughed. Puff. Once a sentence came out, everyone was shocked. Zhao Feng was even sprayed out by many people. There will be investment in the computer competition every year, but most people are cautious in choosing a small fund of 2 to 3, but Qin Luo is lucky, and he only opened his mouth to 300 million. Young people really dare to think. This idea emerged in everyone's mind. However, after only half a second, everyone was stunned. 3 million. Isn't it a little less? In the current market, there is number 56 million, and it can't be spread at all. Xiao Jun frowned slightly and tapped his cheek with his right hand while holding his chin. 5 to 6 million? Qin Luo had a sore throat and coughed out a sound. If you want to take out 5, 6, or dash million, but when he cleaned his pockets, there was only dash. Don't talk if you don't want to invest. Xiao Jun nodded and smiled lightly. Well, I will invest 300 million to test the water first. If this app can reach 1 million users and 10 active users within half a year, I will invest an additional 300 million. If the results are good, and more will be added in the future. Zhao Feng. Qin Luo. Huh. Am I hearing something wrong? 300 million to test the water, 300 million to add, and there will be more follow-up. This sum of money may add up to no less than 1,000 million. When piled together, it is enough to crunch people to death. But the other party said it calmly, as if it was not 1,000 million, but $3. It was the first time Qin Luo saw such a willful person. Don't look at the PPT, don't look at the market research, don't even try the product, just invest 1,000 million. He didn't use even one of the things Zhao Feng instilled in him on the way here. Poverty once again limited Qin Luo's imagination. It's nice to be rich, because you can pretend to be a priceless dude. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the two, Xiao Jun waved his hand behind him, and soon a female secretary came over, took Qin Luo, and printed out the financing contract on the spot. Wait, just as Qin Luo was about to write his name, a pleasant female voice came from behind him. Turning his head to look, Qin Luo was startled. Yang Peishan, why is she here? And Lin Shanshan is still following behind her. Seeing Qin Luo, Yang Peishan's eyes suddenly became eager. Mr. Qin, we are old acquaintances after all. Why don't you think about our family Shanshan for such a good project? Yang Peishan said with a smile. In a word, it immediately attracted everyone's attention, looking at Lin Shanshan for a while, and Qin Luo for a while. In the blink of an eye, waves of heat rushed towards his face. Can you speak well? Qin Luo's legs trembled, and he almost fell to the ground. Yang Peishan is too scary, right? Yang Peishan. Lin Shanshan clenched her teeth. Her face was ashen. I knew she wouldn't come. For Lin Shanshan's angry shout, she just smiled faintly. Then he walked towards Qin Luo. Let's do this. I will also contribute 3 million yuan to finance the Chalk College entrance examination. 3 plus 3 is 600 million. Qin Luo has grown from a poor student to a millionaire. Those who play capital are really awesome. Xiao Jun was already depressed enough to kill a competitor out of thin air, but what made him even more depressed was that this competitor was still his former senior. Moreover, this senior is a rich woman worth more than 1 billion. 2 million vs billions? Well, that's not far off. Senior sister, don't you do beauty treatment? You also do software after all. Industrial transformation, why is it not allowed? Yang Peishan said with her eyes wide open, her hands on her hips, and a smile. Allowed, of course allowed. Xiao Jun had no choice but to smile bitterly. Sister, you are happy. Senior sister? Hearing the conversation between the two, Qin Luo's eyes widened instantly. He never expected that Yang Peishan was actually a student of Yinqing University. When did Yinqing University have such a low admission threshold? Qin Luo didn't know, but he didn't ask either, because that has nothing to do with him. Now all he has to do is sign the contract. There are templates for financing contracts, as long as the key points are modified according to the template. According to the agreement of the three, Xiao Jun and Yang Peishan each invested 300 million in Qin Luo in exchange for 20% of the shares in Chalk College entrance examination. Of course, the 600 million is not credited at one time, but paid in 10 installments, 60 at a time. This is mainly to protect the rights and interests of investors and prevent entrepreneurs from absconding with money. Soon the investment letter of intent worth 600 million was signed. Qin Luo calculated it seriously. From the moment he stepped into the hotel to the moment he signed a 1 million letter of intent, it took no more than an hour. The rich man's world, the school bully can't understand. Of course, Zhao Feng and a group of computer science students couldn't figure out. They could only stare at Qin Luo blankly. The first round of financing was 600 million, and there were countless additional investments. At this moment, Qin Luo was shining brightly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the task. The completion of the task is as follows. The basic financing amount is 300 million, and the actual financing amount is 600 million. Task evaluation. Basic task reward. Master value plus 6,666. Special reward. One chance to draw a lottery. Seeing the notification that the task was completed, Qin Luo was both frustrated and excited. What is frustrating is that the evaluation is still an A for exceeding the basic amount by one time. If it is S, will there be 2 lucky draw opportunities? Seeing the tasks disappearing gradually, Qin Luo thought it was a pity to himself and looked at his attribute panel. Host, Qin Luo. Mathematics, LV5. Language, LV1. English, LV1. Computer, LV3. Cooking, LV4. The remaining Xueba is worth 31,050 points, a chance to draw a lottery. Mathematics stands out, followed by others, very good. After checking his attributes, Qin Luo exited the system space. Next is the draw. But before that, he decided to wash his face. Don't ask for the high-quality products in a lottery, but only for the good ones in the lottery. In Qin Luo's eyes, Shangku is much better than a boutique. Rebbe, whoever likes to smoke will smoke. Draw, draw. The long-lost turntable appeared in front of Qin Luo. Qin Luo pressed the button without hesitation. As a bigwig with huge sums of money, this time Qin Luo used cheats with great wealth. Spend a lot of money to reduce the speed of the turntable. The rubbish area passes by at a glance. The fair area is fleeting, and the boutique area is coming. MMP, Pepsi Baccarat production diagram. I'm so angry. Taking a deep breath, Qin Luo's heart galloped. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the production map of Pepsi Baccarat. Ding! You don't need to be a bastard if you have a mastery of learning. The host understands the true meaning of a god of learning, and your mastery of learning is plus 188. Oh, what do you want? Ding! New mission release. Legend of the God of Learning. IMO is just the starting point, and Fields is not the end point. The goal of Xueshan is to stand at the top of the academic world. What the host has to do now is to win at the starting line. Requirement. Please ask the host to win the IMO championship in 3 days' time. Reward. Xueba is worth 6888, a chance to draw a lottery. 3 days later. Shouldn't it be 7 days later? Dingling. At this moment, the mobile phones in Qin Luo's and Lin Shanshan's pockets rang one after another. IMO's schedule is advanced, and it will officially start in 3 days. Who is Qin Luo? At this moment, a loud shout came from outside the door. I saw an old man in a purple tang suit striding in. He's about 70 years old, with white beard and hair, but he is in good spirits and walks vigorously. Qin Luo. Which one is this? Qin Luo didn't know him. But he doesn't know it, but someone does. Seeing the person coming, everyone was taken aback for a moment, and then they all let out a burst of exclamation. Tang Xuejuan, the famous top chef in China, even invites him to handle the knife at the state banquet, and the secret recipe of sushi meatballs comes from his handwriting. His subordinates control a huge catering empire, and his personal assets exceed -million. Yanjing Hotel is one of his properties. However, it is said that Tang Xuejuan, who has been sealed for a long time and has hardly shown himself, actually appeared. Moreover, he wanted to see Qin Luo by name. What's going on? For a moment, everyone was stunned. What's the situation? You know, Mr. Tang. Teacher Zhao poked Qin Luo and asked in a low voice. If you don't say his surname is Tang, I don't even know his surname. Do not know. Don't know? It's really strange. Mr. Zhao took a sip of the tea in his cup, suppressing his shock. Who is Qin Luo? Mr. Tang looked around and asked again. I am. Qin Luo raised his hand. As a boss with a system, Qin Luo is fearless. Good boy, I found you. Are you interested in learning how to cook with me? Tang Xuejuan laughed loudly. As soon as a word was spoken, the audience fell silent. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Tang Xuejuan, a well-known chef in China, actually moved the idea of accepting apprentices. Zhao Feng sprayed out the tea before he had time to swallow it. What's the situation? Tang Xuejuan wants to take Qin Luo as his apprentice. He was dumbfounded. However, his shock was far from over. The next moment, Qin Luo shook his head, politely declined Tang Xuejuan's kind invitation. Sorry, I'm still a student, and I have to take the college entrance examination next year. Still want to take the college entrance examination? Tang Xuejuan was taken aback for a moment, and then he remembered that Qin Luo was still a high school student, but he didn't give up on it, but smiled and said, "It's okay. I can wait for you." Ahem. I don't intend to develop into the kitchen for the time being. Qin Luo's expression is much more serious this time. As the owner of the system, he still has many tasks. The Fields Award, the Nobel Prize, these are his goals. As a top student, Qin Luo felt that it was necessary for him to bring all the awards that no Chinese people had won back to China. Being rejected again, Tang Xuejuan was impatient. His face was a little rosy, and he said again, "You can unlock my formula. Do you know how talented you are in the kitchen? If you don't learn how to cook, it's a waste of talent." These words, like a whirlwind, swept across the whole world in an instant, and everyone was in a mess. Uncovered Elder Tang's formula. Isn't he the mathematical genius who proved Zhou's conjecture? I heard he's a computer genius. When did he become a culinary genius again? If mathematics has something to do with computers, then it has nothing to do with cooking. Sorry. Even though Tang Xuejuan tried to dissuade him repeatedly, Qin Luo still politely declined. Tang Xuejuan beat his chest and stamped his feet, trembling with anger. After a long while, Tang Xuejuan said again, "Okay, if this is the case, I won't force you. However, I have a request that I hope you can agree to. Mr. Tang, please tell me. I want to see you cook next time." Tang Xuejuan said seriously. Cooking? Once upon a time, when he was still a scumbag, Qin Luo often cooked, but after he became a top student, the kitchen had disappeared from his memory. Thinking about it, I really miss it. Okay. Qin Luo nodded. Ding. The new task is released, and the master of the school will surprise everyone with his skills. Lonely Xueba needs adjustments in life. Xueba is invited to use the top cooking skills to amaze the audience. Reward. Xueba is worth 1,000. Although 1,000 Xueba value is not much, Qin Luo also has in his pocket. Following Tang Xuejuan's order, the entire Yinjing Hotel's back kitchen immediately became busy. As one of the most prestigious hotels in the culinary world of Yinjing, you can find all the ingredients here, whether it is flying in the sky, swimming in the water, or running on the ground. In addition to protecting animals, there are everything here. And all the top ingredients are used here without a trace of dross. Walking among the many ingredients, Qin Luo has a feeling that thousands of flowers are gradually becoming charming. What do you say he will do? I don't know. Maybe there will be a remake of Sishi Balls. Possible. Outside the kitchen, everyone was discussing, and every pair of eyes was staring at Qin Luo curiously. Under everyone's gaze, Qin Luo picked up the egg. I picked some chopped green onions, carrots, and then some ham. Egg fried rice. These three words popped out of everyone's minds for no reason. Eggs, ham, scallions, carrots. They couldn't think of any other dishes other than egg fried rice. He doesn't know how to make fried rice with eggs? Someone in the crowd exclaimed. Isn't that what everyone does? Do you think fried rice with eggs is easy? In fact, fried rice with eggs is the most difficult dish to make. Tang Xuejuan said with a smile. The simpler something is, the harder it is to do well. Egg fried rice is not easy. I don't know how many famous chefs have failed in egg fried rice. The top egg fried rice, not only the rice has to be separated, but also the egg is dipped in it. He was looking forward to what kind of egg fried rice Qin Luo could make. Quiet, deathly quiet. There was no sound in the whole kitchen. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Qin Luo froze in place like a log. Music suddenly. Qin Luo snapped his fingers. Music? What the hell? Everyone was dumbfounded. Only Tang Xuejuan's eyes shone brightly. He thought of a legend that a culinary master would consider the feelings of diners while cooking, usually accompanied by music. In their view, cooking is a kind of enjoyment, not cooking for the sake of cooking. At this moment, Qin Luo finally moved. He took out his mobile phone from his pocket and clicked on cloud music. Crack! A sound that sounded like cracking eggs came from the kitchen, and everyone was stunned. Haven't they cracked eggs yet? How can there be the sound of beating eggs? Crack, click, click, click. Then came the sound of beating eggs. Everyone couldn't laugh or cry. And this is the music Qin Luo was talking about. Brother, are you being too perfunctory? Tang Xuejuan's mouth twitched unnaturally. No matter how everyone discussed, Qin Luo was the old god with his hands behind his back and a smile on his face. The sound of chopsticks and stirring eggs became faster and faster, and everyone's expressions changed accordingly. This voice seems to have a little rhythm. Don't tell me it sounds nice. Boom! A shocking gong lifted everyone's spirits. Qin Luo, who had been standing in place all this time, finally started to move. With a sudden kick, he slapped his right hand on the kitchen counter, and the eggs shot up into the sky. You know, there are dozens of eggs in a basket. Everyone couldn't understand it. There were dozens of eggs. If they were thrown into the sky, even 10 people would not be able to pick them up. Then, under the incredulous eyes of everyone, Qin Luo's body, holding the bowl in both hands, turned into a flash of lightning. When the mouth of the bowl touched the egg shattered, and the crystal-clear egg white separated from the yolk and fell into the bowl. Then, under the astonished eyes of everyone, Qin Luo gave a violent shout and then shot like lightning. The rhythmic sound of frangipani cracking sounded again. Qin Luo beat the egg with one hand, pulled the iron pot with the other, lit the fire, and boiled the pot. The 3 iron pots suddenly turned red. Boom! The audience erupted with a bang. Good. It's just wonderful. This method is absolutely perfect. How could he be so fast? However, Qin Luo did not pause at all and directly pulled out a large 1-meter-long spatula from under the stove. Stepping forward under the feet, the waist and the horse are united, and when the right hand shakes, it looks like a rainstorm of pear blossoms, and a gunflower appears out of thin air. A little bit of cold light came first, and then grabbed Rulong. At this moment, Qin Luo didn't look like a chef at all, but a general who went into battle to kill the enemy. And at this moment, the sound of the music suddenly picked up. Qin Luo smiled and sang directly. If you do the math, I've been cooking rice for 3.5 years. He handles the spoon every day and turns the pot, but he is not lazy. Hey, fried rice with eggs is the simplest and the most difficult. The rice needs to be separated from each other, and the eggs must be dipped in it. Hey, egg fried rice is the easiest and the most difficult. This topic is too tricky, but my skills are not ordinary. Hey, egg fried rice is the easiest and the most difficult. Outside the kitchen, everyone froze in place, singing songs as they cooked the dishes, and it sang very well. I'll go, what did this guy eat to grow up? Mathematics is awesome. Computers are awesome. Even cooking is so awesome. While stirring the eggs, Qin Luo turned a deaf ear to everyone's words. He swiped the egg liquid with his arms and evenly fell into each pot. Zizizi, a burst of egg aroma hit the whole kitchen in an instant. Immediately afterwards, Qin Luo patted the table again, and the scallions that had already been cleaned rose straight into the sky, drew a beautiful arc in the air, and landed neatly on the cutting board. Qin Luo held a knife in his right hand and began to chop green onions. But this time, the chopped scallions didn't just sit on the chopping board. Instead, they all shot up and fell into the pot prepared on the side. However, Qin Luo still didn't stop. He slapped the stove with his right hand heavily, and the prepared overnight meal fell into the pot accurately. Chopped green onion, egg liquid, rice, mixed with each other at the same time. Hey, egg fried rice, the easiest and the most difficult. The audience outside the kitchen has been attracted by Qin Luo's dazzling performance, and they are rapping with the rhythm. This place is not like a kitchen at all. It is more like a concert. It is simply a visual feast. Singing, chopping vegetables, frying rice, my God, he actually does all 3 things at once. What kind of cooking skills is this? Crash! The carrots were put into the pot, and the aroma instantly hit the nostrils, sweeping all over the world. Hey, egg fried rice, the easiest and the most difficult. The rice has to be separated from each other, and the eggs must be stuck together. Hey, egg fried rice, the easiest and the most difficult. If you don't turn the iron pot fast enough, you're guaranteed to smash the signboard. The rice flew high, and everyone was surprised to find that each grain of rice was covered with golden egg liquid. China's 5,000-year culture is condensed into this plate. As the last plate fell, fresh egg-fried rice came out of the oven. Qin Luo put down the salt shaker in his hand and reached out to turn off the fire. With his hands behind his back, he looked out the door calmly. The audience was silent, and the entire kitchen was silent. Everyone's eyes widened, and they stared at Qin Luo dumbfounded. At this moment, in the entire Yinjing hotel, there was only the sound of everyone's rough and heavy breathing. 1 second. Time seemed to be frozen at this moment. However, in the next second, the audience exploded. Let me taste it. I'll come first. Everyone line up, line up. While speaking, he pushed forward desperately. Give me peace, I'll try it. Tang Xuejuan couldn't wait to push open the door and step in. Hi. The next moment he gasped. A scent suddenly hit their faces, and it was 100 times stronger than the smell they had smelled before. Is this what comes out of a bowl of fried rice with eggs? Even if it is compared to the dragon meat in the sky, it is not an exaggeration. Yes, even a top chef like Tang Xuejuan was shocked by Qin Luo's performance. The crystal-clear bowl of egg-fried rice, exuding a strong fragrance, has already stood at the pinnacle of egg-fried rice. No one could surpass it. Let me taste it. Tang Xuejuan reached for the spoon, took a spoonful, and put it in his mouth. The next moment, Tang Xuejuan's eyes widened, and he made an ignorant voice. Oh, old Tang, what's the situation? Someone in the crowd asked curiously. It's a pity that it wasn't words that answered him, but Tang Xuejuan's twitching right hand. 1 spoonful, 2 spoonfuls, 3 spoonfuls. Tang Xuejuan answered everyone's questions with practical actions. Under the shocked eyes of everyone, Tang Xuejuan, a top chef who is famous all over the country, actually shed tears. Tang Xuejuan cried. For a moment, everyone was dumbfounded. The people present were all people who had gone through a lot of storms. They had seen many people who cried, but they had never seen anyone who cried while eating. What the hell is going on here? It's so delicious. Tang Xuejuan sighed sincerely. From this bowl of egg-fried rice, I can taste the days when I just stepped into the kitchen. As soon as the words were uttered, everyone couldn't calm down. They scrambled one after another, came to the stove, and served themselves a bowl of fried rice with eggs. This is the smell of motherly love. I think of the time when I stayed up all night to catch up on my thesis. This is not egg-fried rice at all, but a life experience. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for intimidating everyone with his amazing knowledge. Task completion, A+, rewarding master value plus 1888. Ding dong, the master of learning sweeps Liuha. The tiger looks at Hexiongzai. In the final Yinjing city, all the princes come from the west. Congratulations to the host for reaching the full level of cooking skills. Special reward. Master value plus 1888. He obviously just wanted to pick up a mosquito leg, but he got an elephant leg in his hand. Qin Luo was so excited that he wanted to lie down on the ground and kiss the ground under his feet. Why are there tears in my eyes? That's because of my deep love for the kitchen. Qin Luo. Tang Xuejuan raised his head suddenly, staring at Qin Luo with burning eyes. Don't talk about it, Mr. Tang. I've made up my mind. I want to ask, can I have another egg fried rice? Bang. Qin Luo staggered and almost fell to the ground. Just today, a group of reporters from major TV stations and newspapers in Yinjing discovered a strange thing. Whether it is a billionaire or a knowledgeable professor, they're all full of tears. All big cows are crying. Why? Yinjing Hotel, a magical place. In one afternoon, what happened in the hotel turned into various reports and spread all over Yinjing. However, Qin Luo, who was the instigator, was already lying on the bed, happily playing with his mobile phone. Weibo, the group with the most users today. After logging onto the Lonely Master's ID and real name authentication, Qin Luo's mailbox was instantly filled, and the number of fans went from 0 to 20,000 in just a short moment. And this number is still increasing. The mailbox also becomes $9.99 plus in just a few seconds. It seems that Xueba is really popular. Qin Luo opened the mailbox, but the next moment his face collapsed. "I, scumbag, ask you to be my tutor. Ask the master to write the paper for you. It's not about tutoring, it's about writing papers. Hee. Can't you bring a price? Might be able to cover my eyes." No sincerity at all. Qin Luo shook his head, but wrote a blog post and posted the download link of Chalk College entrance examination on it. Want to become a top student? If you want to just download the Chalk College entrance examination. The ad is awkward. But it doesn't matter. Qin Luo still has a trick. Forward the lottery, draw 10 fans, and help solve the problem, limited to 1. Qin Luo is short of money, but the only thing he doesn't lack is his deep talent. After finishing these things, Qin Luo threw the phone aside and began to sleep soundly. In 2 days, he will participate in the IMO in the United States, so he must conserve his energy. Early in the morning, before Qin Luo had time to check the downloads in the App Store, he received a call from his father Qin Lin. Qin Luo was stunned at the first sentence when he answered the phone. It's not like whether you ate or not, whether you slept well or not. But, son, what is Zhou's guess? Qin Lin's voice came from the phone. Ahem, Dad, since when did you start caring about mathematics? Your dad has always cared. Did a leader come to our house? Qin Lin could understand the reason why he made such a big change, even if he thought about it with his ass. No, you kid, don't talk nonsense. Qin Lin's face darkened, and his tone was a bit unfriendly. No, Qin Luo shook his head. Tell me, brat, what is Zhou's conjecture? How should I put it? It's just a simple math problem. Qin Luo thought for a long time, but couldn't think of a suitable adjective. He couldn't tell his father about the Mersenne function. Could he? Simple math problem? If it's simple, can the principal of the school come to the door in person, and the big boss of the education system come to express his condolences? Your wings are stiff. You are impatient to talk to me. Dad, why don't you go find a Huaxia Daily, which has my report on it? Huaxia Daily, wait, are you in the newspaper? Or Huaxia Daily? Qin Lin's eyes widened instantly. In his impression, all the characters who appeared on the Huaxia Daily were awesome characters. He never expected that his own son would also be on the board. Well, I will go abroad to compete in 2 days, and there should be a live broadcast. Qin Luo said, National TV. Think about it too. Even the strongest brain has a live broadcast. How could there be no IMO world-class events? Going abroad to compete? Qin Lin was completely stunned. Dad, there's one more thing. The school sent me a bonus recently, and I will credit it to the card for you later. You don't need to worry about what money you pay at home. You save your money to buy a house for yourself. It's all right. Long distance is expensive, so I'll hang up first. Before Qin Luo could recover, Qin Lin had already hung up telephone. Putting down the phone, Qin Lin took a deep breath and said loudly, Damn it, I want to change the TV. What kind of TV? How long have you bought this TV? In the kitchen, Fu Xiaowan stuck out her head and looked at Qin Lin with unfriendly eyes. If you have this spare money, why not save it to buy a house for your son? Regarding Fu Xiaowan's complaints, Qin Lin just smiled lightly and said, My son is going to be on TV. What did you say? On TV. Qin Lin walked slowly to the window, looked at the tall buildings in the distance, and said quietly, National TV station. Boom! The spatula in Fu Xiaowan's hand dropped in response. But without realizing it, she opened the door and ran out. What are you doing? Buy a TV. Fu Xiaowan emphasized emphatically, big TV. After the phone call, Qin Luo finally had the opportunity to click on Weibo. Hirala. Just a moment, the comment moment 999. Even Qin Luo's mobile phone started to froze. Damn it, let me tell you why Xueba is so good. It turns out that he's been doing questions secretly. Upstairs you are wrong. Look at the upload time of this app. It was just yesterday, and the producer is himself. I'm convinced Xueba is worthy of being a Xueba. In order to study, he actually made an app by himself. Is my little brother dating online? My Yujia has a figure and a lowly voice. The postdoctoral fellow, took it. Qin Luo was taken aback. This guy had so many comments, and even the amount of forwarding was so high. Number 5 on the hot search list. Qin Luo once again entered the hot search list. Why did it go up inexplicably? Regarding this situation, Qin Luo couldn't laugh or cry. He never expected that in just 3 months, he had been on the hot search list 3 times. The probability of him being on the hot search is even better than that of a certain ice. Click on the App Store, enter the developer background, and enter the password of the administrator account. Qin Luo can see the accurate downloads and active user data of the app. 5,800 downloads, 5,410 registered users, and 3,450 activities. Good guy, the app was downloaded 5,800 times in one day, among which the number of active users was as high as 3,450, and the user activity rate was as high as 60%. This value is even comparable to that of a certain company's WeChat, who said that scumbags don't love learning. These thousands of downloads are the best proof. Ding! The host uses knowledge to benefit all directions, and the value of mastery is +1. Although there are not many points at 1, it cannot stand the large base. Looking at the countless data swiped in a second, Qin Luo felt like he was in the clouds. It's cool to brush the questions for a while, and it's cool to keep doing the questions. Cool, it's so cool. So cool I can't breathe. After 5 minutes, the speed of swiping the screen gradually slowed down, and a total of more than 1,000 learning master points were obtained. This is only used by 3,000 people. If it is 30, 300, or -million, what will be the value of Xueba at that time? Simply unimaginable. Sleep until you wake up naturally. Count money until your hands cramp. Think of this kind of life erosion. At this moment, the phone in his pocket rang. Qin Luo took out the phone and saw that it was Feng Huadong's call. Qin Luo, I heard that you made an app recently? Feng Huadong's voice was muffled on the other end of the phone. Yes, teacher phone. After getting an affirmative answer, Feng Huadong suddenly fell silent. After a while, Feng Huadong sighed leisurely on the phone. I really don't know how to say whether you are full of energy or too talented. Your main task now is to deal with IMO. Other things can be done slowly. Qin Luo nodded and said seriously, Teacher Feng, don't worry, I know. It's good that you know that the Fields Medal is your goal, and the money you can earn by then will be doubled tenfold. Feng Huadong seriously warned. By the way, you should clean up quickly in the next 2 days. Order the plane. Got it, Mr. Feng. Why are you just like my mother, long-winded? Feng Huadong's body froze suddenly, and tears streamed down his face. At this moment, he felt like a dog. Is he being long-winded? He called it kind reminder, okay? But how could he really not know? On November 11th, the International Mathematical Olympiad was held in the United States. On November 11th, a group of Huaxia Xueba were ready to go. At 5 o'clock in the morning, before dawn, the bus from China Data Federation arrived at Yenching University on time. At 5:10, Qin Luo and other academic masters boarded the bus on time. At 5:30, the bus arrived at Yenching International Airport. Looking at the dark weather, Qin Luo gave Feng Huadong a contemptuous look. Because Wang Xuetzai and others were busy with the report meeting, Feng Huadong was still the teacher leading the team this time. Well, only Feng Huadong would be so stingy and let them take this kind of special flight. Qin Luo was quite dissatisfied with the arrangement of the Number Federation Association. What considers jet lag? What considers personnel? Qin Luo felt that most of them were reluctant to spend money. Boarding the plane, a group of team members suddenly became excited. Damn it, I didn't expect that Gong Yi, would be able to participate in the IMO one day. It's so exciting to think about it. Hey, if you can come back with a champion, it would be so cool. Think about that picture. He couldn't help the joy in his heart and laughed out loud. By the way, Qin Luo heard that you made an app for brushing questions. Huang Xing, who had been taciturn all this time, suddenly said, That's right, don't tell me I forgot to do maintenance today. As he spoke, Qin Luo took out the computer from his backpack and logged into the management interface of the App Store. The number of downloads has increased so much. Looking at the numbers in front of him, Qin Luo felt unreal. In one day, the number of downloads skyrocketed from 5,800 to 26,400. In one day, the number of downloads skyrocketed by 17,500, and the number of active users reached dash. What's the matter? Qin Luo remembered that he didn't promote it yesterday. Why did it suddenly increase so much? Is it because of Weibo? After thinking about it, Qin Luo logged into Weibo. D. A series of beeps, comments instantly 999. The number of fans soared from 2,000 to 18,000. Qin Luo was taken aback. Looking down again, Qin Luo found the reason for the skyrocketing price. His Chalk College entrance examination was reprinted by many self-media. The Diary of Becoming a Top Student, starting from the Chalk College entrance examination. Do you want to become a top student? Do you want to lie drunk on the lap of a beauty and wake up to take over the power of the world? Just use Chalk for the college entrance examination. Using Chalk for the college entrance examination, I sleep better, my appetite is better, and my academic performance is even better. I use the treasure of brushing questions, and I will go to the college entrance examination tomorrow. There are countless reprinted titles like this. Qin Luo. He was immediately speechless. These self-media people who want to attract people's attention can't wait to blow the app to the sky. Forget it. If you want to brag, you can brag anyway. It will not lose Qin Luo, and it will save Qin Luo a lot of publicity expenses. As a top student, Qin Luo only has 3 things to do now. Money, carry it. Fame, carry it. The value of learning hegemony, keep it in mind. 2 downloads, Qin Luo, you're hot. Gong, he was dumbfounded seeing the numbers still increasing in front of him. In 2 days, more than 2 downloads, this can no longer be called awesome, but extremely awesome. Isn't it normal to be on fire? Qin Luo looked at him with contempt and slid the mouse to call up the background program code. Then start the routine maintenance of the day. Seeing the code jumping so fast, the scholars felt dizzy. What is this? I can't understand it at all. Was this really developed by Qin Luo? Just when everyone was confused, Qin Luo moved. I saw Qin Luo's expression focused, his hands beating fast on the keyboard, as if playing the piano. Dash. The rapid and rhythmic knocking sound echoed on the plane, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Even the eyes of many flight attendants and passengers were attracted. They stared at Qin Luo without blinking, unable to move their eyes away. On Qin Luo's computer, small programs are being generated rapidly. Loopholes are being quickly filled one by one. As a flight attendant on Yanjing International Flight, Bai Lin has seen many engineers who write programs on the plane, but none of them can write code so quickly like Qin Luo. And what's even more perverted is that, listening to the conversations around him and his appearance, the code Superman in front of him is still a half-year-old student, and they are really going to participate in the International Mathematical Olympiad on this trip. Are the current math geniuses so good at writing code? Just like that, a group of people opened their mouths wide and stared blankly at Qin Luo's operation until he finished maintaining the program. Everyone held their breath and watched nervously as Qin Luo hit the run button. With the shaking of the screen, the program was reopened, the interface was much more beautiful, and a bug feedback system and competition mode were added. In just 10 minutes, Qin Luo not only completed the maintenance of the data, but also added 2 brand new systems to the app. Ooh! Everyone took a deep breath. His eyes were full of horror. Master, please accept me as an apprentice. A fat young man leaned over and said excitedly in the seat next to him. Who are you? Qin Luo's eyes flashed with doubt. My name is Lu Yao, and I'm a computer science student. The fat man said excitedly. Ding! The wind is blowing, the clouds are flying, and the knowledge of the host is shaking everywhere. Testing the admiration of Lu Yao, a scumbag, the master value of the host school is plus 122. It's only 122 points. It seems that his sincerity in apprenticeship is not enough. Qin Luo glanced at him lightly and said indifferently, Books are the ladder of human progress. and they are also your best. Thank you, teacher, I understand. After that, he turned around and took out a computer program application from his backpack to read it. This scene directly stunned everyone. The plane operated smoothly, and after more than 4 hours of flight, it finally arrived in the United States. Setting foot on the land of the country of America, Qin Luo felt an indescribable feeling. Not because of familiarity, but because Qin Luo got airsick. Qin Luo, are you okay? Feng Huadong asked. It's okay, just a little dizzy. Air sickness. Everyone covered their mouths and laughed. The omnipotent Qin Xueba actually got airsick. Humph. Finally, there is an item that can beat you, even flying. Lin Shanshan raised her head like a proud peacock. After a short rest, when Qin Luo got better, everyone packed up their luggage and prepared to leave. Master, wait. At this moment, Lu Yao hurried over. Is there anything else? Qin Luo asked. Can you sign for me? He said as he took out a computer textbook from his backpack. Department of Computer Science, Jinling University, Lu Yao? Not bad. As a god of learning, Qin Luo felt that he should meet the requirements of a scumbag, so he took out a pen and wrote down his name in a fluttering manner. Thank you, teacher. Crowd. United States, Milan Hotel. There is an 8-hour difference between Greenwich Mean Time and Yinjing Time. When Qin Luo and his party arrived at the United States at 6:2, it happened to frowny face p.m. in the United States. The warm sun shines through the clouds and hits the earth, which is the best time of the day. Dragging their luggage, Qin Luo and his party came to Milan Hotel. In the past 2 days, mathematical Olympiad teams from dozens of countries around the world have arrived one after another. Although the hotel is not luxurious, it is clean and comfortable. Most importantly, it is very close to the University of Birmingham, the IMO Stadium, and it takes only about 10 minutes to walk. According to the practice of several years, before the start of the competition, the players are usually given a day to relax, and this time is no exception. Of course, the distance was strictly limited by Feng Huadong within a radius of 3 kilometers, and it is expressly stipulated that you cannot go to bars, nightclubs, and similar places. After putting away their luggage at the hotel, Qin Luo, Lin Shanshan, and Huang Xing went out to look for food together. Long before coming here, Qin Luo had already done enough homework, and he knew all about the big and small foods in the United States. Follow the street and come to a restaurant. But in the next second, Qin Luo discovered a surprising thing. This is a restaurant that specializes in cheesecakes. There is a sign at the door of the restaurant with a string of English words written on it. Without the slightest hesitation, Qin Luo quickly took out 1,100 points of academic excellence and added it to the English subject. Congratulations to the upgrade of the host level, LV2. Congratulations to the upgrade of the host level, LV3. Scholar has been able to cope with daily communication. Why don't you understand? Looking at Qin Luo's silence, an indescribable excitement flashed across Lin Shanshan's face. Qin Luo, who has always been a godlike existence in front of them, is now finally beaten into the mortal world. This is his second victory against Qin Luo. Blue cheese cake, 1 for 3 pounds, 3 for 10 pounds. Qin Luo replied blankly. Lin Shanshan staggered and almost fell to the ground. Just a moment ago, he was eager to see Qin Luo's jokes, but Qin Luo laughed at her the next second. Wait, 3 pounds 1, 10 pounds 3, what the hell? Qin Luo definitely translated it wrong. Thinking of this, Lin Shanshan regained her spirits. She looked at the sign seriously. 1 for 3 pounds, 3 for 10 pounds. Lin Shanshan. Qin Luo. Huang Xing also said. Looking at the content on the sign, a sentence popped into Qin Luo's mind for no reason. Sell bamboo rats. 1 for 3 yuan, 3 for 10 yuan. The unit price has changed from the original 3 yuan to 3.3 yuan. Not only is it not discounted, but it has also become more expensive. When did Americans also learn Chinese routines? What a math whiz. How about we buy 3 yuan and try it? Lin Shanshan suggested. No one refused. Both Qin Luo and Huang Xing agreed. They also want to see how talented this American is in mathematics. At this moment, a young lady pushed the door open and bought 3 boxes of cheesecakes in one go. She looked cheerful, as if she had picked up a huge bargain. Hee, Americans are all stupid roe deer. Everyone looked at each other and was speechless for a while. I really don't know how the United States won the last IMO gold medal. Qin Luo shook his head and sighed. Perhaps the people in this place are all idiots. Lin Shanshan said seriously. Maybe he's rich. Huang Xing speculated shrewdly while pinching his chin with his right hand. It makes sense. Since ancient times, there's been a saying that rich people are stupid. Lin Shanshan nodded with a serious expression. Just when Qin Luo was about to refute, ding, a new mission is released. Save the ignorant Americans. Requirement: please ask the host to tell the ignorant Americans what is real mathematics. Reward: Xueba value increased by 1888. 1 chance to draw a lottery. Qin Luo twitched the corner of his mouth. Hee, what kind of lucky draw opportunity? Don't come here. I just want to simply help them. The next moment, Qin Luo pushed the door open and entered. Welcome, welcome. As soon as he entered the door, a blonde, blue-eyed, flushed uncle greeted him. He was wearing a black suit with a white shirt lining his upper body and a pair of linen trousers on his lower body. He had meticulously done hair, a high-nose bridge, and deep eyes. He is a real American gentleman. Every Chinese customer, what do you need? The man took out the translator from his pocket while talking. In his impression, Chinese people seem to seldom speak English, let alone these children who seem to be only 17 or 18 years old. Translator, sorry, that thing didn't work for me. Qin Luo smiled lightly and replied in pure English, how much is a cheesecake? Seeing that Qin Luo's English is so fluent, the middle-aged man was taken aback for a moment, then retracted the translator and said with a smile, 1 pound for 3. How much are 3? 10 pounds. 1 for 3 pounds. Isn't it 9 pounds for 3 cakes? Qin Luo asked. The middle-aged man was stunned for a moment. What did you say? 3 times 3 is 9. Don't you even know that? Impossible. This is the result of computer calculations. Haha, computers in the United States are also stupid. Because of the difference of 1 pound, Qin Luo, Lin Shanshan, and Huang Xing became deadlocked with the middle-aged boss. This moment aroused the crowd of Americans who were picking cakes around. Oops, they're Chinese. The multiplication table of the Chinese people is very magical. Damn old Jack, you overcharged me by a pound. The melon-eating audience around exclaimed. They didn't mind that Qin Luo and others took the pit and didn't pay. Instead, they looked at Qin Luo with great interest, wanted to see how he proved that 3 to 3 got 9, looking forward to his new discoveries. The crowd of onlookers was getting more and more, and Lin Shanshan's heart suddenly retreated. As a little rich woman worth billions, she didn't care about the pound at all. Qin Luo, why don't we just forget about it? Anyway, a pound is not a lot for a millionaire like you. Lin Shanshan said. You won't believe it. It's not a question of money, but a question of scholar value. And as an upright person, Qin Luo must spread his brilliance to the world. Mathematics is called mathematics precisely because it does not recognize idols and is not afraid of overthrowing outdated things. Qin Luo smiled lightly. So, what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. That's math. Gone. Wouldn't that be a waste of a chance to score points and a lottery draw? Papa Papa. Suddenly, a burst of short applause sounded behind Qin Luo. The 3 of them looked back and saw an old man wearing glasses with golden rims smiling at them. The appearance of this old man is very unique. His face shape is different from that of many American people. It is an authentic Chinese character face. His cheeks are slightly sunken, as if processed by a knife. His beard and hair are all white, and his eyes look like he is very kind, but if you look carefully, you will see shrewd eyes. As he walked all the way, the crowd of onlookers gave way spontaneously, and the old man came to Qin Luo without any effort. He looked at Qin Luo with a smile on his face, and said with a smile, Young gentleman, you are right. Mathematics is mathematics. He only has right and wrong. There is no reason. Old Jack, you made a mistake. 3 cheesecakes are worth 9 pounds. The old man looked at the middle-aged man and said with a smile. The middle-aged man smiled awkwardly, but he was not angry at all. He said loudly, "Indeed, I made a mistake. To compensate everyone, 3 cakes cost £9 today." The corner of Qin Luo's mouth twitched. 3 pieces of cake, originally worth £9. Damn, old Jack, you are really a shrewd businessman. For little Jack's sake, can't you get a pound less? However, when it was time to pay, everyone still paid 10 yuan unanimously. What's the situation? Are Americans really all stupid, dear? It's for little Jack's sake. As if sensing Qin Luo's doubts, the old man patted Qin Luo's shoulder with a smile. Little Jack is just like the great Hawking. Qin Luo was taken aback for a moment. He didn't understand what the old man meant. He was suffering from frostbite. The world's 5 major terminal illnesses, people suffering from this disease. The average life expectancy is between 2 to 5 years, and some patients can survive for more than 10 years. Even Hawking, the world's most famous physicist, cannot escape this death limit. Sorry. Qin Luo turned to the middle-aged man and said, "Young gentleman, you are right. Mathematics is mathematics. What is right, and what is wrong. The middle-aged man smiled heartily. Starting from today, 3 yuan and £9. Qin Luo silently took out a 10-pound note for little Jack. After saying that, Qin Luo turned and left the cake shop. Ding! The host saves ignorant human beings with his profound knowledge. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. The mastery value is plus 1888, and you will have 1 chance to draw a lottery. The value of Xueba has risen again, and there's also a chance to draw a lottery. It feels good. Draw a lottery. Draw a lottery. Think silently in your heart. The big wheel appears in front of Qin Luo in an instant like an old man collecting debts. The last time Qin Luo washed his hands, he won by sure bail. This time, Qin Luo chose not to wash his hands. Of course, as a rich man, Qin Luo unsurprisingly used a cheat to reduce the speed of the wheel. Finally, under Qin Luo's eager gaze, the pointer of the turntable pointed to the acceptable area. Ding dong, congratulations to the host. You have obtained the proof of the twin prime number conjecture, quality, fair. Twin primes, proof that brow heard it. Based on the principle of asking if you don't understand, Qin Luo took out his mobile phone and started Baidu. 235717313101695713100169591. There is a twin prime conjecture about twin primes, that is, whether there are infinitely many pairs of twin primes. Since it was proposed by Hardy and Little in American mathematics circles in 1923, this number theory problem has plagued the mathematics circles for nearly 100 years, but it has not been solved until now. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be the proof of twin prime numbers. Qin Luo's heart was beating wildly, and his value was much higher than Zhou's conjecture. Because the range of prime numbers involved in twin prime numbers has a guiding role in the proof of countless conjectures in the mathematics world. It is conceivable that if this blockbuster is dropped, what kind of shock it will cause in the mathematics world. Before Qin Luo's eyes, there was even a picture of Cambridge, Oxford, and Harvard queuing up to the door. After thinking about it, Qin Luo also fell asleep. Whereas the time gone, before you get a good look at you, you are getting old. In the early morning of the next day, Qin Luo's mouth twitched wildly when he saw the people coming out of the room with dark circles under their eyes. "Did you steal cattle last night?" Qin Luo asked curiously. "Steal cattle? Steal what cow? Have you ever seen such a good-looking girl who is worth billions of dollars to steal cattle?" "Shut up." Lin Shanshan's mouth twitched. Her face darkened. There is an 8-hour time difference between the United States and China, and their time difference cannot be compensated for in one day. Qin Luo smiled. "Why didn't I?" Boarding the bus of the competition organizing committee, a group of contestants rushed towards the University of Birmingham. Top academics from dozens of countries around the world will compete at the University of Birmingham. The IMO finals are tomorrow, and today is a day to familiarize everyone with the venue. After all, this time, it is not just one match that determines the outcome, but several matches. When boarding the bus, Qin Luo was really taken aback. There were a lot of people on the bus, and their hairs were all different. Yellow, white, red, brown, and even green. Hee hee. Excuse me. Do you mean green protection? After a long while, Qin Luo recovered from the shock, glanced away, and planned to find a random seat to sit down. Qin Luo. At this moment, a coquettish sound came from the position at the end. Following the sound, a familiar yet unfamiliar face appeared in Qin Luo's eyes, with full head of blonde hair, a high-nose bridge, and just the right face. Oyaling, a mixed-race beauty from the high school affiliated to Yanda University. Why is she here? Qin Luo froze for a moment, then walked over slowly. Sitting next to Oyaling is much better than sitting next to a group of non-mainstream. At least she is more pleasing to the eye, and she's also a comrade in arms. Do me a favor. Before Qin Luo could speak, Oyaling grabbed Qin Luo's arm. Qin Luo? Although the Chinese people in the world are one family, we are not familiar with each other. If something goes wrong, there must be a demon. Qin Luo pulled out his arm calmly and asked with a vigilant face, I'm a clean man. Clean yourself. Ha. Oyaling almost fell off the seat. What the hell is he talking about? Kindness. Not talking. Does she have any plans for herself? Facing a fair-skinned, beautiful, blonde, mixed-race little beauty, Qin Luo was filled with anxiety. Hello. Just then, a handsome, blonde man walked over. He is very tall, at least 1.8 meters above. He is dressed in a white suit, showing his perfect figure. He has golden hair, clear and bright eyes, straight nose bridge, and smooth skin. He seems to have come from a fairy tale. Prince Charming who came out of the world. Student, is it convenient to change seats with me? The man went straight to Qin Luo, looked at Qin Luo with a smile on his face, and spoke fluent Chinese. To be honest, Qin Luo has not met an opponent for a long time since he got the system, but this person in front of him made him feel a little threatened. Aside from knowledge, he is already comparable to himself in appearance. It can be regarded as a well-matched opponent. But I can't give up the position to you just because you look good, right? Moreover, Qin Luo couldn't find a reason to step aside. Therefore, Qin Luo shook his head with a smile and said in fluent English, No, I'm afraid not allowed. The blonde man was taken aback for a moment, his expression a bit astonished. On the one hand, it was unexpected that Qin Luo could be so proficient in English. On the other hand, he didn't expect Qin Luo to reject him. Student, don't you think about it anymore? The blonde youth still smiled. If you can bring the unit price behind, maybe there will be a slight chance to blindfold me. I can't see your sincerity at all. Qin Luo raised the corner of his mouth and smiled faintly. Sincerity? Disdain flashed in the eyes of the blonde man. He took out 100 pounds from his pocket and put it in front of Qin Luo. Student, it's all right now. Of course, this seat belongs to you. Under Oyaling's astonished eyes, Qin Luo took the 100 pounds as a matter of course. Then he said with a smile, Student O, there are still 2 seats over there. Let's sit there. What do you think? Oh, okay. Oyaling suppressed the smile in her heart, followed Qin Luo to stand up and walk towards the back row. Dumbfounded, completely dumbfounded, Tesla just froze in place. He never expected that Qin Luo would use a trick to escape the shell. Did he originally mean to want a seat? He wanted Qin Luo to leave, but he didn't want Oyaling to go. As a native of the United States, he is a star-like existence no matter where he goes. Xueba from all over the world will more or less give him face. But today his face has failed. The brown-eyed and black-haired Chinese man in front of him actually didn't even pick him up and even cheated him out of 100 pounds. His handsome face became ferocious, and a cold light shone in his blue pupils. He's going crazy. Classmate, you are going too far. He stared at Qin Luo coldly, as if he wanted to tear Qin Luo into pieces. Do you want this position? It's okay, I'll give it to you. Qin Luo waved his hand generously, but he didn't show any intention of getting up. Hearing Qin Luo's unscrupulous words, the anger in his heart increased a lot in an instant. You have guts. The blonde man glared at Qin Luo angrily, then turned and left. Just leave like this? There is no sincerity in picking up girls. Gladly putting the pound into his pocket, Qin Luo turned his attention back to Ouyuling. The blonde mixed-race woman in front of her is not simple. I said, who is he? Tesla, a car seller? In Qin Luo's impression, there was a car named Tesla. Under Qin Luo's astonished gaze, Ouyuling nodded. That's right, but it's not Tesla, but Infinity. His father was the marketing director of Infinity. Just a single disagreement provoked a rich second generation worth billions. Fortunately, I have a system. What about you? Which princess are you from? Qin Luo asked. Birds of feather flock together, and people are divided into groups. The identity of a woman who can be chased by the second generation of billionaires is by no means simple. The president of Tesla China is my father. Fortunately, I have a system. By the way, he is also a contestant this time. He was the last IMO champion. He is good-looking, his family is rich, and his academic performance is so good. If it were someone else, I'm afraid that he would have lost everything at this moment. But fortunately, he met himself because he has a system. It's okay, he won't be soon. You have great confidence in yourself. Wrong. I am very confident in the system because I'm a top student. Ouyuling opened her mouth, completely speechless. Looking at the history of Qin Luo's rise, it could be said that he climbed to the throne of Xueba without hindrance. And it also proved Zhou's conjecture and non-local collapse theory beyond imagination, and was even defined as a genius by Princeton University Professor Deline. It seems that it is not impossible for such a character to win an IMO gold medal. The University of Birmingham, founded in 1825, is located in the United States. It is one of the top 1,900 universities in the world and an old school in the United States. IT was awarded the Royal Charter by Queen Victoria in 12. It is the first member of the 6 famous red brick universities in the United States and one of the 5 elite universities in the United States at the same time. It is also a core member of the Russell University Group of the American Ivy League and a member of the M-University Alliance. It can be said that Birmingham has a very special status in the United States. Although it is not the top, it is indeed one of the most influential universities. Walking into the campus of the University of Birmingham, you will be greeted by a vast lake. The lake is clear, the trees are lined with trees, and the buildings are well arranged with a strong ancient century style that a large number of flowers and plants are planted on the campus, which is the most beautiful season of the year. A thick pastoral scenery rushed over. If he hadn't looked up and saw the words, "Welcome IMO contestants from all over the world," Qin Luo would have thought he was here for tourism. Followed by the leading teacher and contestants from all over the world, they took a simple stroll around the campus. If Qin Luo's first impression of university is pastoral, then his second impression is academic. In the university, there's a special lecture hall with countless blackboards hanging in it, and the blackboards prove world-class problems one by one. Goldbach's conjecture, Riemann's conjecture, Katatani's conjecture. However, before he was halfway through the shopping, he was attracted by a blackboard. Proof of twin primes by Tesla Cage. Qin Luo. Be good. It can't be such a coincidence. Seeing the proof on the blackboard and the familiar name, Qin Luo was shocked. Have twin primes been proven? The scroll he got was just for fun? This is even more exciting than betting on stones. 1 knife is poor, 2 knife is rich, 3 knife goes to sell underwear. Qin Luo now has the idea of selling underwear. Unable to hold back the curiosity in his heart, Qin Luo left the team and walked slowly towards the blackboard. Just when Qin Luo walked to the blackboard and was about to do some research, a young man came over. He was wearing a black suit, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. His hair was meticulously done, and he had a spring-like smile on his face. Gives a sense of indescribable intimacy. However, Qin Luo didn't like him very much. The reason is simple. He has a 3-point resemblance to the blonde man Tesla, and he is also very good-looking. Student, are you also interested in twin prime numbers? He asked with a smile. Probably. Qin Luo nodded and returned his gaze to the blackboard. Tesla Cage, a student at the University of Birmingham, a doctorate degree. Your name? The young man stretched out his hand and smiled. Sure enough, Birds of a feather flock together, and people are divided into groups, and good-looking people are all fucking relatives. Qin Luo actually didn't want to talk to him, but as a gentleman, he still reached out and shook his hand. Qin Luo, a student at Beishan-no-Middle School. Beishan-no-Middle School? Is there such a university in the world? Actually, high school. Cage opened his mouth, feeling speechless. Originally, he thought he had met a like-minded fellow Taoist, but this fellow Taoist was just a high school student. Heh, he probably doesn't even know what twin prime numbers are. The smile on the young man's face was still bright, but a hint of disdain flashed imperceptibly in his eyes. Come to participate in the MO competition? Yes. Nice to meet you. Me too. Qin Luo nodded with a smile, and then turned his gaze to the blackboard. It is different from the disintegration process that Qin Luo imagined. He used an argument method called reverse mathematics to prove twin prime numbers. A holistic approach that starts with the conclusions and then proceeds from the conclusions needs to be envisioned. This man, named Tesla Cage, preconceived the existence of twin prime numbers. Then on this basis step-by-step reverse deduction, thus proving that the pair of twin prime numbers is infinite. Seeing this, Qin Luo smiled disdainfully. He finally knew why the conclusion made by the other party only appeared on the blackboard instead of the world-renowned Journal of Mathematics. Because he made a fatal mistake. Even though his process was simple, his logic was clear, and his conclusion was correct, he could not prove twin primes after all. The twin primes were originally a conjecture, and what he was waiting for was a proof. There is no reason to presuppose that the twin primes are infinite, and then prove them step by step. He divided the proof process into countless modules, and then proved them one by one, and finally put them together. But how can the divided modules be reassembled? This has gone against its original intention. Ding! The mission is on. Break the fantasy of the scumbag. Going. Please use the vast amount of knowledge of the host to end the illusion of learning scum. Mission reward. Xueba is worth 1,000 points. Xueba is worth 1,000? This is too little. Ding! The mission has started. The report desk in Birmingham. Requirement. Please ask the host to board the Birmingham report platform and make a summary report on twin prime numbers. Reward. Xueba is worth 10,000 points, and you will have one chance to draw a lottery. It turns out that the main event is here. After adjusting his mood, Qin Luo turned his eyes back to Cage. At this moment, he looked at Cage as if he was looking at a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Qin Luo smiled lightly and said, "It is undeniable that the proof process is really exciting, but you have fallen into a logical trap." What did you say? I didn't hear clearly. Cage was stunned. This conclusion is what he is most proud of, and now there's only one right time to go, and he can use the reverse mathematics to prove the theory of twin prime numbers, and it will be published in mathematics journals. But now he was rejected by a high school student, which made him a little confused. Student, are you sure? The corners of his mouth turned up. His eyes showed a hint of disdain. Qin Luo nodded and said with a smile, "Excuse me, a theory that is just a conjecture. Why can you prove it with reverse mathematics? Of course, you made more than one mistake. You split the twin prime number theory into 10 small modules, and then prove them one by one. You're not trying to prove the twin prime number conjecture at all, but to prove it for the sake of proof. If it were me, I wouldn't let you be on the Journal of Mathematics." As a master of mathematics level LV5, it is not difficult for Qin Luo to find out the fallacies in the proof process. To shut up, as if realizing his low-level mistake, Cage's face changed several times in a few seconds, from black to white to the current flushed face. He gouged out Qin Luo's eyes viciously, turned around, and left without saying a word. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the task, and reward the master with 1,000 points. 1,000 points is better than nothing. As a wealthy boss, Qin Luo no longer cared about the little bit of academic hegemony. The next day, the weekend, the warm sunshine broke through the clouds and spread to the earth. Qin Luo woke up early. As usual, he wasn't affected by jet lag in the slightest. This realm can only appear in the student god who sleeps in class. When I came to the University of Birmingham again, the fresh atmosphere of yesterday was gone, replaced by the faint smell of gunpowder smoke in the air. In the next day and a half, a world IMO world champion, the strongest among the young generation, will be determined. The leader of the judges, Professor Stanley, read out the rules of the competition. A total of 4 contestants from each region will participate. There are 3 questions in total, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The competition schedule is 2 days in total. The question and answer time is 6 hours, and you can bring any stationery and drawing tools. Even the competition organizing committee considers the exam time and allows the contestants to bring some drinks and food into the venue. Of course, all electronic devices are not allowed to be brought into the venue. Once discovered, they will be punished as cheating. However, you can bring 3 reference materials. Yes, IMO is an open book meeting, but if you think it's easy IMO, you'd be wrong. IMO has a special rule. That is, every time you do a wrong question, not only will you not score, but you will also be deducted. That is to say, if you do not get 0 points for a question, you will win the championship. It may also fall to the last place. This is IMO. This is the stage for the strong. Oh, interesting rules. Qin Luo smiled faintly and turned to look at the surrounding crowd. On the left, the face is solemn and the whole body is trembling. On the right, looking pale and sweating profusely. The front, can't see clearly, but judging from his trembling body, he must be extremely nervous. As for the back, still calm, although expressionless. As for the members of the Huaxia team, Qin Luo looked curiously through the cracks. Surprisingly, their faces were full of excitement, as if they were eager to try. Lin Shanshan clenched her fists, her little heart beating uncontrollably. I didn't expect that Lin Shanshan, would one day stand on the IMO, bring biscuits, milk, and 3 reference books, respectively, High School Mathematics Knowledge Encyclopedia, Advanced Mathematical Formulas, 3-year Olympic Games, and 5-year simulation. That's right, Huaxia's manufacturers are so awesome. After packing up the props, Qin Luo walked into the examination room under the guidance of the staff. The exam questions have been specially translated and replaced with Chinese. When Qin Luo got the test paper, he suddenly found that the information he brought was useless. The most useful things are bread and milk. The former can fill the stomach, and the latter can quench the thirst. 1. Find all functions f, rr, so that any real number x, y has f, xy, equals f, x, fy. Hee. Qin Luo's eyes flashed brightly. This question is quite interesting that he applied the knowledge of junior high school and high school to the extreme. Qin Luo smiled slightly, looked up and looked around, and all he could see was the International Common Movement, biting the pen holder. Haha, horrible. Countless people bit their pens and stayed in place. Not to mention solving problems, they couldn't even move their pens. Alas, masters are so lonely. Qin Luo shook his head, picked up his pen, and began to write. In just a few minutes, the answer was already on the paper. Solution. Let y equal 0, f 0 equals fx, f0, asterisk. If f0 is not equal to 0, then fx is a constant function. Ln fx equals c, substitute into c equals cc. So c equals 0, or c equals 1. That is, 1 less than or equal to c less than 2. If f0 equals 0, it can be obtained from asterisk. Substituting into the formula, it can be obtained that fx equals 0 or fx equals c. 1 less than or equal to c less than 2 all meet the requirements and are all solutions. This is IMO. It feels quite relaxed. Qin Luo put down the pen in his hand and looked at the people around who were writing hard. Thinking it was okay, he picked up the biscuit and nodded. Cats, cats. In this quiet classroom, the sound of cracking biscuits can be clearly heard. What's the situation? What's that sound? For a while, everyone turned their heads. But in the next second, they were shocked, seeing Qin Luo holding the biscuit and sending it to his mouth. Ha ha. Just 10 minutes after the exam started, someone is hungry. Is he the kind of starving ghost reincarnated? The corners of everyone's mouths twitched, and everyone looked at Qin Luo with disdain. However, Qin Luo didn't care and still went his own way. How can the petty emotions of a scumbag affect a god of learning? Seeing this scene, everyone's teeth itched with anger. They wanted to snatch the biscuit from Qin Luo's hand and eat it. Ding! The incompetent rage of the scumbag was detected. The host's master value +1. Ding! The incompetent rage of the scumbag was detected. The host's master value +1. Ding! The incompetent rage of the scumbag was detected. The host's master value +1. Qin Luo was very confused. Didn't he just eat a biscuit? How could someone send points? International friends are great too. As a native of China, Qin Luo deeply understands the principle of being indecent when coming back. He took out a biscuit again and put it in his mouth. Cats. You can't eat it, but you can watch me eat it. Ding! The incompetent rage of the scumbag was detected. The host's master value +1. After a long while, the system prompt slowly receded. Qin Luo checked his income with full expectation. Student, please hand in the paper if you are done. Just as Qin Luo was checking his income, a kind voice sounded from behind him. Turning around to look, an old man with white beard and hair was standing behind him. The old man's face is very familiar, just like the old man who bought cheesecake yesterday. Could it be that this old man is a professor at the University of Birmingham? Qin Luo thought about something, but his face was blank. Master, why are you here? Hee, I'm the invigilator. The old man smiled, staring at the biscuit in his hand without blinking. Hello, teacher. While speaking, Qin Luo quickly threw the biscuit into his mouth. Cats. Are you done? Hand in the paper when you're done. The corner of the old man's mouth twitched, his face full of helplessness. Then I will hand in the paper, Qin Luo said with a smile. Carry out an assignment? The old man froze for a moment. He was joking at first, but never thought that Qin Luo would hand in the paper. Student, are you sure? You should know that if the answer is wrong, points will be deducted. The old man reminded him kindly. Teacher, you are right. Qin Luo picked up the paper again and looked at it carefully. The old man nodded in satisfaction, and a faint smile reappeared on his face. To paraphrase a Chinese saying, this is called, children can be taught. However, the next second, the smile on his face froze. Teacher, I checked and handed in the paper. Qin Luo's voice sounded again. Ha. 1 minute, no, 20 seconds, not even yet. This is his inspection? Qin Luo put the test paper on the table, got up, and left. The old man suddenly felt a little dizzy. Gone, did he just go? Not only the old man was dizzy, but even a group of students who were taking the exam were also a little dizzy. When they're still thinking hard, looking for ideas to solve the problem, when they're still writing answers, others have already handed in the paper and left. Why is there such a big gap between people? Damn it. In the corner of the classroom, Tesla, a blond man with a sneer on his face, looked at Qin Luo's back without blinking, with a mockery in his eyes. As one of the local contestants, he is well aware of the difficulty of this exam. It takes 3 hours, but it takes 2.5 hours to solve it. But how long did it take Qin Luo? Not half an hour, but 10 minutes. How could he figure out the answer? Think 0 points, you can win the championship. So naive. At this moment, he had attributed Qin Luo to being a member of the 0-point team. Oh, looking at Qin Luo's leaving back, the old man sighed helplessly. After what happened at the cake shop yesterday, from the bottom of his heart, he still has a good impression of Qin Luo. But now, that shred of goodwill has disappeared with Qin Luo's departure. The old man waved at a task in the classroom and was about to seal Qin Luo's test paper. But the next moment, he suddenly froze in place. Qin Luo's test paper was filled with answers, and the process is smooth, without a trace of alteration. The old man suddenly became interested. He opened the seat, sat down, and reviewed it with great interest. After about 10 seconds, he put down the test paper again. The haze on his face has disappeared, replaced by that faint smile. For a test paper with such a clear logic, 10 seconds is indeed enough. At the end of the competition in the morning, all contestants' test papers were sealed, and they will be graded uniformly after the competition tomorrow. The 3 members of the Huaxia representative team left the school immediately and walked towards the hotel. As for O Yilin, she didn't know where she went. Feng Huadong had been waiting for the door early, and when he saw Qin Luo coming out of the tower, he went straight to meet him. "How do you feel?" Feng Huadong, the team leader, asked eagerly. "Disaster. It's outrageously difficult." "Is it difficult?" "I think it's okay." Qin Luo shrugged his shoulders, his face full of indifference. "I think it's more difficult during the national judgment. Even including the time to eat bread and biscuits, it did not exceed half an hour before and after." Qin Luo had the illusion that his IMO exam this time was easier than the national final. National decision? It's fine if Qin Luo didn't say anything, but when he said it, everyone's faces darkened immediately. To some extent, the national judgment is just an examination question set for Qin Luo alone. Poincaré guessed, "Is this a test question for high school students? If you don't talk, we're still friends." "Boss, can you consider our feelings when you speak? Recommend you to read a book, Emotional Intelligence." Qin Luo touched his nose and smiled indifferently. "As a student with a system, I can do whatever I want. Don't be proud and complacent." Feng Huadong glared at Qin Luo angrily and said, "Did you find any opponent? I heard that a man named Tesla is very powerful." Qin Luo said. Feng Huadong took out the player's seat list and glanced at it. Tesla, a native of the United States, participated in the IMO for the 2nd time this year, and he was the champion of the last IMO. "Is he great?" The last IMO was the best of the bunch, with perfect marks in all 4 exams. "Perfect score?" Qin Luo's eyelids twitched. Without the blessing of the system, the opponent was able to score full marks. "His strength is indeed very strong. But so be it." Qin Luo felt that as long as he wanted, so could he. Back at the hotel, in line with the principle of knowing yourself and the enemy, and winning every battle, Qin Luo checked the data online. The data tells him that it is not easy to get a full score on the IMO. Tesla was the only winner of the last full score. In the last IMO, the United States has always been in a disadvantaged position, and its ranking once fell out of the top 10. But at this time, Tesla was born out of nowhere, almost relying on his miraculous performance, abruptly promoted the United States from the top 10 rankings to the 1st place. Especially in the last logical reasoning question, Tesla scored full marks. Is also the only one with full marks. He is one of the strong contenders for this IMO gold medal. Unfortunately, you won't be so lucky this time. Qin Luo narrowed his eyes slightly and closed the computer with a snap. After a short break, the contestants ushered in the 2nd stage of the exam. Before entering the examination room, Qin Luo and Tesla ran into each other again. "Hello." Qin Luo greeted Tesla with a smile. However, the other party ignored Qin Luo at all. But Qin Luo was not discouraged at all. He stepped forward quickly, walked side by side with Tesla, and said with a faint smile, "There's a guy named Cage who is your brother. What do you want to say?" Tesla's eyelids twitched, his face a little ugly. Just now he heard a terrible news. The conjecture of twin prime numbers proved by his brother Cage, who exhausted his efforts to use inverse mathematics, was rejected. Qin Luo shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile, "I want to say that I am the one who denies him." Crunch, the beautiful blonde-haired boy Tesla, suddenly paused in his steps forward. The whole body froze in place. After a brief silence, the corner of his mouth raised a mocking smile. "Student Qin, I'm afraid you don't even know what twin prime numbers are." After a day of understanding, he already knew Qin Luo's name. Hua Tiankai. What's the use of a self-proclaimed genius? Only the champion in the international arena has weight. Ding, a new mission begins. The road to champion. Requirement. Ask the host to win the IMO championship. Reward. Xueba is worth 6,888 points. Students are only born for champions. A student without a champion is not a good student. What he said seemed to make sense, so this champion Ben Shuaba accepted it. What you said makes sense, so this time I want the IMO gold medal. After speaking, Qin Luo strode into the examination room with his head held high. Confused, directly confused. Tesla just froze in place. What does he mean? What do I want a gold medal for? He is determined to win this gold medal. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the first competition day of IMO, the last test officially started. Staff, as soon as the test papers were distributed, there was an exclamation in the examination room. Wow, it's too difficult, isn't it? Portuguese. Damn, never do it. In Argentine. Chet, who made this question? English. Hearing the exclamation in his ears, Qin Luo was inevitably excited. Disaster, the harder the better. If it's not difficult, how can you highlight the awesomeness of a school bully? With excitement, he picked up the test paper and quickly scanned it, then froze on the spot, feeling empty in his heart out of thin air. Not because it is too difficult, but because it is too simple. Qin Luo has long been ready to meet the challenge, but now everything has come to naught. For this year's IMO, Qin Luo is completely desperate. Qin Luo looked at the test paper and then at the invigilator beside him. Qin Luo raised his hand to signal. Teacher, can you come up with some difficult exam questions? With a math level of LV5, Qin Luo can solve this question with a glance. He really has had enough. What if everyone gets full marks for such a simple test question? Do you still want to do his mission? Quiet, deathly quiet. Everyone stretched their necks and looked at Qin Luo without blinking. They rubbed their ears with their hands, as if 10,000 grass and mud horses had been plowed in their hearts. Such a difficult question. Do you still think it is easy? Classmate, are you a funny comparison invited by monkeys? Professor Stanley, who was the invigilator, froze in place. His pupils dilated suddenly, and he felt bad all over. This question was posed by him. With his vast knowledge, he can guarantee that this question has covered all aspects of high school mathematics, from inequalities to functions to sequence. If the difficulty of a question is defined as 9.999, then this question can get dash points. But it was such a question, but it seemed so simple in Qin Luo's mouth. If he hadn't seen Qin Luo's test paper in the morning, he really wanted to ask, Classmate, are you crazy? The exam begins, Stanley said angrily with his old face turning dark. The tip of the pen danced quickly on the test paper, and there was a rustling sound in the classroom. Everyone was thinking hard. They wanted to empty their heads. Like everyone else, Qin Luo is also writing, and the answer is already vivid on the paper. Look at the time. Half an hour has just passed. Cats, cats. Qin Luo tore open the package and ate the biscuits happily. Although the sound of biscuits is not loud, it is so clearly audible in this silent classroom with only the sound of writing. With the sound of sitting in front of Qin Luo, the nib of the red-haired, non-mainstream pen that was writing vigorously snapped off. Pump! A blonde boy on the right was kissing the desk with his forehead. The little blonde girl, sitting on Qin Luo's left, pressed her temples with her hands, her veins bulging. With such a poor mental quality, you still come to participate in IMO? Qin Luo smiled disdainfully and put the biscuit in his mouth again. Time is relative. Sometimes it is fast, sometimes it is slow. In the torment, a group of top students finally ushered in the bell of the end of the exam. Ding-ling-ling, the short bell rang, marking the official end of the first competition day of IMO. However, the second match day was scheduled one day later. The time vacated in the middle is left for the contestants to check for omissions and make up for vacancies and adjust their status. It is also left to the competition group to adjust the difficulty of the test questions according to the competition situation of the students. Under the angry eyes of all the top students, Qin Luo packed up his equipment and walked out of the examination room. The marking work lasted from 6 o'clock in the afternoon to the early morning of the next day. As the invigilator and the leader of the marking team, Stanley couldn't remember how many cups of coffee he had refilled. Fortunately, this is Birmingham. If it were Starbucks, I'm afraid they would have already picked up the broom and chased people away. At this moment, there are 2 test papers in front of him, one from China and the other from the native United States. One is Qin Luo, who met in the cake shop, and the other is the last IMO champion, Tesla. Stanley hesitated for a long time and finally wrote 12 points on the two test papers. But in Stanley's heart, he is more inclined to Qin Luo. Although the answers of both of them were very rigorous and the process was impeccable, it only took Qin Luo 10 minutes to put the two questions together, while it took Tesla several hours. There is no difference in the answer, but the timing is 10 times different. Number genius. Stanley defined Qin Luo in his mind. As for why it is numbers, not mathematics, the reason is very simple. Mathematics is not only calculation, but also logic. The test questions the day after tomorrow will be slightly changed. Stanley raised his right hand and waved to the assistant behind him. At the end of November, Yanjing was already blowing with cold wind. But for the United States, which is located in the temperate zone, it is still warm. Even a short sleeve and a jacket are enough to cope. After breakfast, Qin Luo left the hotel and wandered aimlessly on the street. Suddenly, a handsome and tall young man appeared in his field of vision. Tesla. Haha. With a smile on the corner of Qin Luo's mouth, he pretended not to see and continued walking forward. Coincidentally, there was a fencing gym in front of it, and Qin Luo pushed the door directly and entered. Ping, 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 between swords and swords, the sound of swords crisscrossing could be heard endlessly. Hello, Qin. Are you here to learn fencing too? Suddenly, a dull voice sounded behind Qin Luo. Prince Charming. Tesla walked over with a smile. Just take a look. Qin Luo smiled indifferently. Are you interested in having a game with me? Tesla raised his eyebrows and asked provocatively. He has already made up his mind. As long as Qin Luo dares to agree, he promises that the stabbing mother will not know him. He wants to show Yilin who is the real strong one. Of course, not interested. Qin Luo smiled lightly. Fencing? Haha. No points to get, pure waste of time. Also, Yilin has nothing to do with him except that she looks a little better. It's nothing to do with himself, but as a top student, Qin Luo knows him very well. Not interested in this. In a word, Tesla froze in place. In his script, shouldn't Qin Luo agree without hesitation? Student, are you sure? Sure. Ding, a new mission is open. Swordmaster. Requirement. Please use the supreme swordsmanship to tell the host who is the father. Reward. Fundamentals Master Value 2888. Alas, there is no way. Let me tell you, baby, your father will always be your father. Come on, let me tell you what fencing is. Qin Luo stepped forward and came to the arena. Tesla staggered and almost fell to the ground. Aren't you not interested? A sneer of disdain rose from the corner of Tesla's mouth. As a master of fencing since he was a child, he couldn't tell that Qin Luo was a novice who was so new that he couldn't be new. To deal with such a cute newcomer, he doesn't even need to wear armor. Tesla walked into the arena, waved his right hand. The foil sword was in his hand. The tip of the sword was frivolous, and a sword flower suddenly appeared out of thin air. Bang! With a sound, the flower sword in Qin Luo's hand was thrown away. Tesla looked at Qin Luo with more and more disdain. However, Qin Luo was unaware of Tesla's disdainful gaze and even had the urge to laugh. Ding! The host understands the key to fencing. The fencing level has increased by LV1. Level 1. That is clearly not enough. What should I do then? Just upgrade. So Qin Luo took out thousands of master points and added them all to fencing. Student, let me tell you what fencing is. Qin Luo said with a deadpan expression and a cold voice. Fencing, Tesla didn't answer. A little cold light came first, and then the sword came out like a dragon. The target pointed directly at Qin Luo's wrist. Congratulations to the host for raising his fencing level to LV2. Congratulations to the host for raising his fencing level to LV3. Following a burst of system prompts, Qin Luo instantly felt that his hands were full of strength. The speed of the foil slowed down a lot, and the trajectory of the sword was perfectly captured by his eyes. This speed is very easy. Qin Luo's mind spun quickly. His body turned slightly to the right, and the foil slashed across his body. Ding, congratulations to the host for raising his fencing level to LV3. Foil, épée, and saber skills are at full level. Instant full level. Out of the sword. The flower sword in Qin Luo's hand stood in front of him. Before everyone came back to their senses, he stepped forward with his right foot, and his whole body was like a dragon going out to sea, and instantly attacked Tesla's arm. Perfect fencing action. What? Tesla was directly stabbed by the tip of Qin Luo's sword, stepped back several steps, and screamed while clutching his arm. With a bang, the foil sword in his hand also fell. It is so terrifying to control the enemy with one move. Qin Luo clenched his fists, feeling excited. This feeling of sweeping the world with one sword is much more powerful than the previous Taekwondo. I once wanted to go to the end of the world with a sword, but I didn't go because I was busy with school. At this moment, Qin Luo regained his dream. How is it possible? Tesla's eyes widened in disbelief. Just now, Qin Luo was still a veritable novice, but after only a few seconds, Qin Luo transformed into a master of fencing. Even if he was thinking about it, he couldn't figure out what was going on. Because I'm a top student and you are a scumbag. Qin Luo smiled maliciously and walked slowly towards Tesla. What do you want to do? Tesla's face flushed, watching Qin Luo, who was getting closer and closer to him. His body couldn't help but began to tremble. Aren't you going to fencing with me? I'll teach you fencing now. The corners of Qin Luo's mouth were raised, revealing a bright smile, bright and sunny, making people feel like spring breeze. But looked like a devil's smile to Tesla. He slammed his feet on the ground and stepped back uncontrollably. He is fast, but how can he be faster than Qin Luo? I saw Qin Luo strode forward, shaking his right hand, and Tesla's clothes have been shattered into pieces. Ding, congratulations to the host for comprehending the sword skill, Stormy Liliwa. Haha, there are skills that is real cowhide. With the tattered shirt hanging on his chest, Tesla wanted to die at this moment. Qin Luo, he let out a desperate cry. Shut up. Believe it or not, I'll give your pants a facelift. Qin Luo's cold voice responded to him. Now, the world is quiet. Tesla shrank in the corner, trembling all over, silent. Student, don't you feel that things have gone too far? At this moment, a chuckle came from behind Qin Luo. Turning his head, he saw the man walking straight over. He was holding a long sword about 1.5 meters long in his hand. The whole person was hidden under the protective gear, making it difficult to see his real appearance. But judging from the calmness of the march, this person should be a master of fencing. Brother, help! Tesla became excited when he saw the person coming. An eager light burst out from his gloomy eyes, like a dying person seeing the hope of life. What surprised Qin Luo was that when the other party took off the helmet, a young face was revealed. He looks very young, only about 20 years old, with long brown-red hair moving in the wind, as a handsome and unrestrained schoolmaster. Qin Luo felt the pressure again. What the hell, you broke into the hot guy's den. Why are there so many handsome guys? Student, you have to be forgiving and forgiving. What do you think? He asked with a smile. Although he was smiling, there was an undeniable taste in his words. Haha, do you think you're Guanyin Bodhisattva? Or the Tathagata Buddha? Why does this Xueba listen to you? Thinking of this, Qin Luo smiled indifferently, raised his right hand, and put the flower sword in front of him. It is a look of Dugu seeking defeat. Seeing Qin Luo's movements, the brown-haired man was taken aback for a moment, then dropped his épée, and then took out a flower sword from the sword. Student, for the sake of fairness, I will compete with you with foil, he said with a smile. Let me feel sorry, Ben Xueba doesn't need it. Actually, my heavy sword is okay. Qin Luo turned around and put on the heavy sword. Haha. Seeing this scene, Tesla sneered. Foil and épée are two kinds of swords. Both the attacking technique and the matching footwork are completely different. So he doesn't believe that Qin Luo can be proficient at all. Since he dares to compare the épée with his senior brother, he is looking for death, Tesla thought to himself. Seeing this scene, the young man's face was full of astonishment, and the next moment his face suddenly darkened. This is provocation. Qi Guoguo's provocation. As a leader of the fencing gym and a member of the U.S. national team, he is qualified to let go. But what right does Qin Luo have to refuse? Humph! Let me teach you a lesson, he sneered in his heart. He has already decided to teach Qin Luo an unforgettable lesson. Ding! The opponent's anger has been detected, and the host mastery value is plus 99. Hey, let's give a wave of gifts before the game starts. Classmate, do you want me to be gentler or heavier? The way he looked at the other party became kinder. I will let my father tell you what fencing is. Putting on their armor, the two stepped onto the fencing ring. The site is about 14 meters long and 2 meters wide. The two stood at each end. At this moment, everyone's attention in the fencing gym was attracted. Please, the sword points collided, and the duel officially began. Qin Luo raised the sword and swung it up and down, adapting to the weight of the sword. Ding! The host comprehends sword skills. The Ape has no front. Can you still play happily? And can you leave some opportunities for others? Qin Luo almost couldn't bear the violent smile in his heart. But this scene fell in Charles's eyes, but it was extremely funny. Sure enough, in the field of Ape, this is a novice. Charles grinned, stepped out with his right foot, and aimed straight at Qin Luo's shoulder. Quick, really fast. Before everyone could react, the tip of the sword had already come to Qin Luo. Is this the strength of the national team? It's too scary. Charles, you really deserve your reputation. Shouts of exclamation filled the entire fencing hall. But in the next second, the exclamation turned into shock, and Qin Luo's body was lightly dodged by the other side's attack lightly. Then he raised his right hand and stabbed fiercely. No front épée, thrust out suddenly, tapped directly on the other person's wrist. With a bang, the épée fell in response. Stupid, dazed in capital letters, Charles froze in place. In fencing, the most humiliating thing is the saber being shot down. This is a shame for every fencer, but now, the fencing genius Charles was not only knocked off with a sword, but also knocked off with a single blow. This can no longer be called a shame, but a shame among shames. The entire fencing hall was eerily quiet, and a needle could be heard falling. Everyone's eyes widened, looking at Qin Luo in disbelief. To knock off Charles's saber with one blow, this was a scene from the Arabian Nights, but it happened before their eyes. How is this possible? Tesla's face was pale, and his heart was bleeding. In his plan, Qin Luo was the one who was thrown away by a sword. But now, the situation is completely reversed, and the prey has become a hunter. Who the hell are you? Charles blushed, his eyes flashed with coldness, and he asked sharply, which country are you from? Players from that country? Qin Luo smiled faintly. I'm from China, and I'm here to participate in IMO this time. Boom! As soon as the words came out, everyone's minds were buzzing. Qin Luo's words are really amazing. He's actually a high school student. Oh my God, I participated in IMO, and the fencing is so good. Is he a devil? Could it be that he knows Chinese Kung Fu? OMG, it's Chinese Kung Fu. No wonder it's so powerful. For a time, everyone exclaimed, he is a high school student? Or an IMO contestant? Charles was a little dizzy. He asked Tesla as if looking aside, but seeing Tesla's frustrated face, he understood something in a trance. Plop, he turned pale and fell to the ground. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully completing the task, winning the fencing championship, and rewarding the master value, plus 2,888. Fencing level, LV3. Comprehend the skill, Rainstorm Pear Blossom Sword. Comprehensive skill, Heavy Sword Without Front. Ding, the talent of the host shocked the audience. The master value plus 45. Ding, the talent of the host shocked the audience. The master value plus 85. Ding, the talent of the host shocked the audience. The master value plus 124. Immediately afterwards, another notification sounded, and a large wave of mastery values was coming. In just a few seconds, Qin Luo gained 2,000 points of mastery. Alas, the loneliness of a master. Under the bewildered eyes of a group of people, Qin Luo turned around gorgeously and walked away. Could this be the legendary god of learning? OMG, I can't believe my eyes. The next day, IMO's second and last match day. On this day, Tesla came to the examination room early, just because he didn't want to meet Qin Luo. Unfortunately, the moment he was about to step into the examination room, Qin Luo appeared in front of him. "Student, are you okay?" Tesla gritted his teeth tightly and remained silent for a while. Ding! Host mastery value plus 111. At 10 o'clock, the test papers were distributed on time. After Qin Luo got the test paper, he quickly browsed through the test paper, and then he was confused. During the discussion of a certain meeting, A, B, C, D, and E are arranged to discuss in front of a round table, and there are 5 seats marked with numbers 1 to 5, not necessarily arranged in sequence, beside the round table. 51511253342. If C is sitting on seat number 1, which seat is A sitting on? No matter how you look at it, the questions on this test paper don't look like a math problem. It's more like a derivation question. However, what Qin Luo is most afraid of is derivation. After several level upgrades, Qin Luo's derivation ability has reached LV5. 11331. Therefore, if C is sitting on seat number 1, it can be known that A is sitting on seat number 4. At the same time, Tesla in the same examination room looked normal, and there was even a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. The exam question this time is not number theory, but logic. This is where his forte lies. He is confident that he can get full marks on this question. So what if you're awesome? The final champion must be mine. Tesla grabbed the pen on the table and began to write quickly. Tap the tip of the pen, and the answer is already on the paper. In just 10 minutes, he had already finished answering. Check again, the perfect answer. The corners of Tesla's mouth rose, and a confident smile appeared on his face. Qin Luo, Tesla, admit that you are awesome in fencing, but in learning, I'm stronger than you. Qin Luo, I have to thank you. It is you who made me sublime into a better self. Cats. At this moment, the strange sound of cats sounded again. Tesla raised his head numbly, and then his eyes widened. What did he see? Qin Luo was carefully tearing open the packing box, as if he was afraid that someone would steal his biscuits. But who the hell will grab your snacks? Are you full? Sensing those scorching gazes, Qin Luo's mouth twitched. He asked himself very quietly, but he was still caught. A little embarrassing. Do you want to eat? Qin Luo said silently with his lips parted slightly. Eat a hammer. Tesla's face suddenly changed, and his face was extremely gloomy. In 10 minutes, he solved a logic problem with a difficulty of 9.9, which was much faster than his usual speed. Don't eat. Very good. Cats. Qin Luo put the last biscuit in his mouth, then raised his right hand. Teacher, hand in the paper. Clap. Tesla's right hand suddenly exerted force, and the pen was instantly broken. His face was pale, but his eyes were full of red. He's going crazy. Bang! Tesla slapped the table and stood up suddenly from the stool. Teacher, hand in the paper. It is absolutely impossible for him to lose to Qin Luo. Looking at the time, it was only 10 minutes before the exam, but there were already 2 people who wanted a hand in the exam. Classmates, can you save some face for the organizing committee? Stanley shouted in his heart, but it was impossible for him to say it. The old man said blankly, Student, why don't you check again? Report to the teacher. I have checked it. Qin Luo said. Teacher, I have also checked. Tesla is not to be outdone. Classmates, are you sure you understand what I mean? The corners of Stanley's mouth twitched, and a thin layer of sweat had quietly covered his forehead. Okay, hand in the paper. Stanley almost gritted his teeth and said this sentence. Under the eyes of envy, jealousy, and hatred from everyone, Qin Luo and Stella walked out of the examination room one after the other. The sun was still shining brightly, and the crowd outside the examination room was looking forward to it, most of whom were students from the University of Birmingham. Seeing Qin Luo and Tesla coming out one after the other, they suddenly became lively. It seems that the IMO gold medal this time is our country again. Counting this time, Tesla has won 2 consecutive IMO gold medals, and the next one, he can make history. This is the background of our country, which is incomparable to other countries, huh? This time, Tesla can study in Birmingham in advance. For a while, they were happy. Of course, Qin Luo didn't care how happy they were. Anyway, it will turn into disappointment at that time. A day later, release day. The official ranking is sent to everyone in the form of a list. The results of the Huaxia team are: Qin Luo scored 18 points, Ouyling scored 13 points, Lin Shanshan scored 8 points, and Huang Xing scored 7 points. Qin Luo was a little surprised that Lin Shanshan was so rare that she surpassed Huang Xing. The reason, after thinking about it, Qin Luo felt that it could only be herself. Lin Shanshan's ability to improve her grades so quickly was entirely due to his tutoring. It seems that I am very suitable to be a teacher. Although Qin Luo hasn't been a tutor for Lin Shanshan for a long time, this thing is like planting a tree. Once the pit is selected, the things behind will naturally follow. As for Ouyling, Qin Luo was not surprised. This little mixed-race beauty has always performed very well in mathematics. Boom! The door of Qin Luo's room was violently pushed open, and the team members rushed in. Champion! We are the champion! We got the gold medal! A group of people clapped hands and celebrated with each other, and the atmosphere was warm. Qin Luo, tell me honestly, did you grow up eating 6 walnuts? Full marks again. Can you put some water in? Sorry, I grew up drinking transparent self-fluid holy water. Qin Luo said with a smile. Transparent, self-fluid holy water, what is that? Everyone looked at each other, confused. What's that? Better than 6 walnuts? Well, that's awesome. How many people drink only 6 walnuts? And its audience is as many as 14 billion people. Qin Luo nodded and replied seriously. Everyone present here is a top student, a monster with an IQ over dash. They couldn't understand the meaning expressed in Qin Luo's words. What kind of transparent, self-fluid holy water? It's tap water. No matter what, I will kneel down to you, Boss Qin Luo. From now on, I will be in charge of your leather shoes. Huang Xing hugged Qin Luo's thigh, as if he would not let go. We are a team, and the championship is won by everyone's joint efforts. It is useless for me alone. Qin Luo smiled brightly on his thin lips. Big brother. Straight a student. Qin Luo. For a moment, everyone was overwhelmed with gratitude. What is Xueba? This is Xueba. His humility is outrageous. At noon that day, the award ceremony was held in the auditorium of the University of Birmingham. Looking at the handsome guy in the mirror, Qin Luo nodded in satisfaction, but suddenly felt a little worried the next moment. He is a powerful player. What if someone ignores his talent because of his handsomeness? Alas, the troubles of a top student. While he was doing his hair, there was a knock on the door, and the team members were ready to go. 10 minutes later, a group of 5 members of the China Olympiad team, wearing uniform suits, received the trophy symbolizing the highest honor of IMO in the auditorium. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the Mission Champions Road, the Master Value plus 6,888. Win the championship with a full score, special reward, get a value-added card. Value-added advance card. The host can arbitrarily increase the academic level of a single item, duration 3 hours. Qin Luo rubbed his eyes. He couldn't believe it. He has personally tested the effect of the value-added card, and it is awesome. He never expected that he would get another one. Darling, it's like a dream. Crack, click, click. The spotlight was like stars in the sky, shining nonstop, and a group of reporters squandered the memory. Some reports were then sent out by reporters. The Huaxia Olympic mathematics team won the championship of the International Olympic Games with a high score of 46 points. We have gone through a 3-year window period, and we ushered in the championship again today. The meaning of the title of winning the championship with full marks is no less than the first IMO championship. There are many competitions in the world, such as computer science, biology, chemistry. But if you want to say that the most varied and most valued subject is mathematics. In Western countries, mathematics is not only an important subject, but also an important part of culture. IMO has attracted the attention of Western media even more, especially the individual champion among them. The team is important, but academic development depends on geniuses most of the time. The team trophy is in the bag, and the next step is the individual gold medal. The hostess with blonde hair and big waves came to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please invite the editor-in-chief of Journal of Mathematics, Professor Deline and Professor Stanley, to present awards to the individual gold medal winners. Deline, professor at Princeton University, editor-in-chief of the Journal of Mathematics, and winner of the highest award in mathematics, the Fields Medal. He is a household name in the mathematics circle, and he is the goal pursued by every mathematician. However, Professor Stanley is not inferior. He is a well-known professor at the University of Birmingham, the permanent chairman of IMO, and the winner of the Fields Medal. It couldn't be more appropriate to have the two of them presenting the award. Son, your article kept me up for several days, Deline said to Qin Luo with a smile. Qin Luo opened his mouth excitedly, but couldn't speak, so he didn't speak at all. There is no one who is not excited to be rewarded by the greatest god in the mathematics world. Young man, I hope you will move on. Stanley patted Qin Luo on the shoulder and smiled. I will. You deserve this gold medal. The two picked up the ribbon at the same time and put on for Qin Luo. 18 points to win the gold. This is IMO the biggest honor ever. Papa Papa. In an instant, there was thunderous applause from the audience. The applause was so loud that it seemed to lift the roof off. The flashing lights kept shining, illuminating the originally dark auditorium like daylight. Winning gold with full marks, he is the pride of China. Sina News. Overcoming obstacles, Xueba won Huaxia's first individual championship. NetEase News. Number 1 of the younger generation. On the other side of the ocean, countless people learned the news of Qin Luo's championship through various channels. All of a sudden, the domestic media went crazy. Sina, QQ Uni, but all the large media started reporting on Qin Luo one after another. Of course, there are also doubters. They questioned Qin Luo's strength and questioned whether an IMO champion could be worthy of the title of number 1 of the younger generation. But when a report titled "The Strongest High School Student in History" swept across the internet, the doubters fell silent. The reason is simple. The person who wrote it was Wang Xuetzai, the chief mathematician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Wang Xuetzai, Yenqing University National Academician, winner of the Hualuoging Award, has published numerous papers domestically and internationally. IMO is by no means his end. His goal is Fields. When Zhou Haizhong's article was published, Huaxia's network instantly boiled. Mathematics may be written into the Nobel, signed by Song Baogua. The three academicians spoke at the same time, just for a high school student. Qin Luo's name spread throughout the academic world in the middle of the night. In the auditorium, looking at the gold medal on his chest, Qin Luo was extremely excited. A soldier who doesn't want to be a general is not a good soldier, and a student who doesn't want to be a champion is not a good student. Beside him, Tesla clenched his fists tightly, his face somber, as if dripping water. Originally, he vowed to win the championship, but at this moment, what belongs to him is a silver medal. Congratulations. Keep working hard. Deline held the ribbon and hung the silver medal on Tesla's chest. Thank you. Tesla squeezed out 2 words between his teeth and then waved his sleeves away. This is the American, sometimes a gentleman, sometimes a hooligan. Just when everyone was stunned, Qin Luo suddenly said, "Professor, can I borrow this reporting platform? Do you have anything to say? I want to prove the conjecture of twin primes." Quiet, deathly quiet. Deline, Stanley. All the famous old professors opened their mouths wide and were speechless. Genius or crazy? In the auditorium, the audience was crowded with people, about 200 to 300 people, among whom there were many academic giants like Deline. But at this moment, they all stared wide-eyed. Qin Luo's words almost caught their eyes. "Student Qin, are you sure?" Deline frowned imperceptibly and then asked, "If Zhou's conjecture is a conjecture with a difficulty of 5, Then the difficulty of the twin prime number conjecture has been raised to 8. Can I have a whiteboard? Okay. Deline waved his hand, and soon the staff came up with a whiteboard. The effect of whiteboard projection will be very poor, the conference staff reminded. Then don't project. Qin Luo walked straight to the whiteboard with a marker in his hand. In an instant, many people in the audience were whispering and discussing. Twin prime numbers have been proposed since 100 years ago, and there are countless people who want to prove it, and there are many big cows in the field of mathematics among them. But without exception, they all broke their swords and fell into the sand. The twin prime number conjecture has not been proven until now. Everyone looked at Qin Luo curiously, wanting to see what tricks he would play. Qin Luo closed his eyes, his thoughts racing. On the last day of the MO competition, he will prove the twin primes here at the report platform in Birmingham. Opening his eyes, Qin Luo wrote down a line of calculations. No PPT, no projector. He proved it on spot. Just as Qin Luo was writing the proof, the auditorium was already noisy. Whether it is a media reporter or an academic expert, their eyes widened at the same time. The first time they met, the live-proven genius. For a moment, there was a smile on the faces of the people on the left and right. They have already attributed Qin Luo to the nonsense of a genius. 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. Qin Luo's hands fluttered, as if playing a symphony of fate. When Qin Luo's answer reached the 10th line, there was no sound in the entire auditorium, and even Professor Stanley, who had been expressionless, raised his brows. They looked at each other with a deep shock in their pupils. The next moment, they took out the notebooks from their bags and put them on their knees, their expressions gradually becoming serious. At the same time, the audience sitting in the audience stopped laughing and stared at the whiteboard seriously. They had a premonition that a miracle would happen. In the corner of the auditorium, several members of the Huaxia Olympic mathematics team were staring at Qin Luo blankly, their eyes full of shock. "Teacher, what does Qin Luo want to do?" Huang Xing asked. "What? I also want to know what he does." Feng Huadong was also thinking about this issue. There was no warning about Qin Luo's actions, and no one knew about it. He seemed to want to prove twin prime numbers directly on a whim. "Brother, those are twin prime numbers. Aren't you playing too big?" Feng Huadong only smiled wryly in his heart. He didn't care about the movements of the crowd. Qin Luo in front of the whiteboard was simply focused on understanding the questions. 10 lines, 20 lines, 30 lines. Time passed by every minute and every second, and everyone's hearts began to become tense. Although many people present were confused, they didn't know whether Qin Luo's proof was correct or not. But being able to write down more than dash proofs, such an achievement, is amazing enough. Snap! Qin Luo wrote blankly in one stroke, and suddenly raised his head. The whiteboard over 3 meters long had no room for writing. "Bring another whiteboard," Professor Stanley said eagerly. "Thank you." Qin Luo nodded. Stanley put down his notes, stood up slowly, his eyes swept around, and said, "From this moment on, please keep quiet, because you are fortunate to witness the process of a conjecture being proved." The voice fell. The audience was silent. Even the sound of breathing disappeared. At this moment, the auditorium was extremely quiet. Even a group of media reporters put down their cameras. They were worried that the sound of the shutter would affect Qin Luo, who was proved the conjecture on the spot. Anyone who dares to do this is either a genius or a lunatic. But relying on Stanley's words just now, they can be sure that Qin Luo is the former. The whiteboard was quickly brought up, and the staff placed it alongside the previous one. Qin Luo took a deep breath and once again devoted himself to the proof. "Pick up the pen, put the pen down. The line-by-line calculations are already vivid on the paper. There must be twin primes between the natural numbers p, n, 1, and pn. The number of t-sets corresponding to the twin prime numbers of the natural number interval p, n, 1, p, n is located in the following natural number interval. P, n, 1, 1, /6, p, n, 1, /6. There are altogether p, n, 1, /6 continuous natural numbers in the above natural number interval that we can use the sieve method to filter out the non-T episodes to obtain the T episodes. Among them, according to the principle of the aforementioned sieve method, the ratio of the number of T sets that can be calculated in this interval is at least pi 12/pi 3 less than or equal to I less than or equal to n1 1/2, 1/7, 1/11, 1/2/p and 1. 30 lines, 60 lines, 90 lines. 1, 2, 3. Teacher, do you think he can succeed? In the corner, Lin Shanshan's pupils were shining brightly, and she stared straight at Qin Luo with her beautiful eyes. After thinking about it for a while, Feng Huadong shook his head. I don't know. The twin prime number conjecture is a conjecture that has stumped the mathematics world for a century. It is very difficult, but I believe in him. If he succeeds, it will be another great blessing for Huaxia. Of course, Feng Huadong still didn't say a word. If Qin Luo fails, all his previous achievements will be reduced to a joke, and he will become the laughingstock of Birmingham and even the entire mathematics world. And the jokes are going to last a long time. It has been proved on the spot that this is a double-edged sword. If it succeeds, it will lead to success and fame, which has become a good story in the history of mathematics. Failure is completely reduced to a joke. But even so, he felt relieved for Qin Luo. To be able to reprimand Feng Xiu in Birmingham in front of academic giants like Deline and Stanley, Qin Luo has already won. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. When Qin Luo filled the 10th whiteboard, his writing movement finally slowed down. At this moment, the whole place was silent. No matter whether it is a group of academic experts or media reporters, they are all silent. Tessia, who was sitting in the corner, was even more pale. Looking at the figure on the stage, she didn't know what she was thinking. Qin Luo turned around, glanced at everyone, and said slowly, sieve out all the possibilities, then the remaining possibilities are the final answer. Having said that, Qin Luo set his sights on the 11th whiteboard. He raised his hand again. The black pen tip is in close contact with the whiteboard, like a warrior holding a dragon's sword, slashing at a dying dragon. PN1/6, PN1/6, PN1PN. There must be more than 2 pairs of twin primes in any pair of adjacent square intervals of prime numbers. That is to say, our previous conjecture is established. This means that the conjecture that the number of twin primes is infinite is true. The conclusion is established. Twin prime conjecture proved. Crack. The tip of the pen broke with a crisp sound. This sound reaches the depths of people's hearts. Although its sound is small, it is deafening. Downstairs, it was silent. On the stage, each person writes a legend. Qin Luo took a deep breath and then let it out slowly. His beating heart announced to him. He turned around, raised his head and chest to the audience, and said, "We have reached a higher level. Ladder. My report is over." The air condensed at this moment, and time stagnated at this moment. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened. They were witnesses of history, witnessing the proof of a conjecture and the birth of a theorem. Bowing deeply, Qin Luo walked towards the silent auditorium. Surprised? Maybe. Looking at Qin Luo, who was walking slowly, Feng Huadong was excited and couldn't help being happy for Qin Luo. Qin Luo's report is over, and what awaits him is the trial of the entire mathematics community. And he couldn't help it all. Teacher Feng, don't worry, I have confidence in myself. Looking at Feng Huadong with a complicated face, Qin Luo said with a smile. As the owner of the system, Qin Luo has great confidence in himself. Brat, grow up. Feng Huadong patted Qin Luo's back heavily and scolded with a smile. You little brat, you actually comforted me. Quiet, deathly quiet. Everyone held their breath at this moment, quietly waiting for Daniel's trial. Clap, clap. After a brief silence, a lone applause broke the silence of the hall. This is an old man with gray hair. He stood up and applauded alone. Clap, clap, clap. The applause gradually rose, spreading from the first row to the last row in an instant. A group of reporters seemed to have found a vent flashing lights one after another. Both the news media and the students from Birmingham blushed at the moment. The IMO champion proved the twin function on the spot. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, it would be hard to believe that this thing would happen to a child age 17 or 18. However, the fact is that it happened to him, and it really happened in front of everyone's eyes. A genius rises from this. Here, in Birmingham, a problem that has plagued the mathematics world for a century was scratched out with a black pen. For a moment, the entire auditorium was filled with applause. In the corner of the auditorium, a silver medal hangs on his chest. Tesla's eyes were dull, feeling lost in his heart. As the most outstanding young genius in the United States, he has been living in a world full of stars and moons, but all of this has completely collapsed with the birth of Qin Luo. IMO champion, twin prime number conjecture prover. Is this my opponent? Is this the opponent he aspires to defeat? Even if I installed a rocket booster, I might not be able to catch up with him. Angry? No. Lost? Maybe. He now feels like a person with a lofty goal who suddenly lost his goal. Confused, at a loss, with mixed feelings. What he was proud of was left far behind by the other party in an understatement. There were bursts of applause, and flashing lights were like stars. At this moment, Feng Huadong finally came to his senses. As the president of the Southwest Provincial Mathematics Association, he once dreamed that his student union would win the IMO and stand on the world's top podium. But when all this turned into reality, he always felt unreal. He had been looking forward to his dream for 30 years, and Qin Luo realized it in 2 to 3 months. The younger generation is terrible. Apart from emotion in his heart, Feng Huadong was even more happy for Qin Luo and the entire Chinese mathematics community. It is conceivable that from today onwards, Qin Luo will definitely have a place in the academic world in the future. Write a letter when you get back and recommend this talented person to the higher-ups. No, right when you get back to the hotel. Qin Luo, congratulations. This is the second conjecture you have proved this month. Suddenly, Professor Deline, who had been silent all this time, spoke out. His face was calm, but his eyes were full of eagerness. Originally, he was not a judge of this IMO, but out of curiosity about Qin Luo, he still came. Facts have proved that Qin Luo also gave him a surprise. Win the championship with a full score and prove the twin primes on the spot. As soon as these words came out, it was like a gust of wind sweeping across the entire hall. Professor, besides twin primes, what other conjectures did he prove? A student from Birmingham in the crowd asked curiously. Joe's conjecture. Galoo, the entire auditorium fell silent instantly, and everyone's eyes widened, looking at Qin Luo in disbelief. If the twin primes are proved, then they can reluctantly accept it. After all, no one knows how hard Qin Luo is behind the scenes. But within a month, 2 conjectures have been proved consecutively. What the hell is this? Classmates, are you a guest terminator? Ding! The shock from the scumbag was detected, and the value of the top student is +1. Ding! The shock from the scumbag was detected. The value of the top student is +1. Well, students, continue to be ignorant. The more ignorant you are, the stronger I will be. Qin Luo glanced at everyone with a smile and said sincerely, "Thank you. Thank you for giving me points," Qin Luo thought in his heart. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the task. The master value plus 10,000. Congratulations to the host for winning a lucky draw. Host, Qin Luo. Level, Mathematics, LV5. English, LV3. Language, LV1. Creature, LV1. There is one chance left in the lottery. Cool. It's that cool. Not only has he obtained a large number of academic master points, but he also has a precious chance to draw a lottery. I'm curious, why did you use the sieve method to prove twin primes? Deline asked with a smile. You know, the sieve method is a very complicated method, and it will take several times the time of other methods. Am I going to tell you because I have a system? Qin Luo raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said with a slight smile, "We have a saying in China, which is, The stupid bird flies first. Maybe it's because I'm too stupid, so I can only choose the complicated method of sieving to prove twin prime numbers. Stupid bird flies first? Brother, even if you pretend to be aggressive, you don't pretend like this. If you're stupid, who else in the world is smart? People who were familiar with Qin Luo laughed in their hearts. However, people who were not familiar with it exclaimed. In their eyes, Qin Luo is a symbol of genius. Just like Einstein, genius is 90% luck plus % sweat. For a time, the crowd was completely boiling. Brother, you did a great job. You are so handsome. Handsome, do you have Facebook? You can write on my hand. Handsome, let me take a photo. A female student with blonde hair and big waves walked over with a smile. Hit someone with a ball? Qin Luo felt awe-inspiring in his heart, and subconsciously took 2 steps back. But it's better if you don't refund it. Once you refund it, these foreign girls will be more enthusiastic. The shy young lady is the thing that can arouse their interest the most. They open their arms and rush towards Qin Luo with a roar. The gorgeous suit has become a beggar's outfit, and the handsome hair has become a chicken nest head. Qin Luo exerted all his breastfeeding strength, and then rushed out from the siege of a group of female hooligans. Looking back at the group of blonde girls with big waves, Qin Luo swallowed. His legs were a little weak. After leaving Birmingham and passing through the bustling square, Qin Luo finally returned to the hotel, but he was stunned just as he boarded the elevator. With a light cough, Qin Luo said solemnly, "Don't look at me like this. I will be shy." Golden waves were draped casually behind her, and her thin lips curled up seductively. Oilan, he was actually faster than himself. Miss O'Yillan, who had frivolous eyebrows and folded her arms around her chest, ignored Qin Luo's words and pressed the number 7 directly. Qin Luo wiped the sweat from his forehead, feeling very grateful. But it didn't take long for his expression to become weird. Why did he have a taste of being affectionate? When did you start proving it? O'Yillan frowned slightly and looked at Qin Luo curiously. If you say it was yesterday, you won't believe it, but if you say it was 2 months ago, that's impossible. So just a month ago. About a month ago. Qin Luo thought for a long time before saying, 1 month. Oiran's face suddenly darkened. Actually, it can be 2 months. Qin Luo changed his words after seeing O'Yillan's dark face. Otherwise, half a year is fine. Anyway, you can do whatever you want. Qin Luo said with a smile. As a qualified academic master, Qin Luo felt that he should be more magnanimous. An excellent person always moistens things silently. Crack, as if something broke. Qin Luo looked around, and everything was as usual. Goodbye. O'Yillan glared at Qin Luo angrily, stomped her feet, and walked out of the elevator. The incompetent rage of a scumbag. Qin Luo held back his mouth and smiled helplessly. Forget it. Never mind. What Qin Luo wants to do most now is to have a good sleep. To be honest, Qin Luo is a self-disciplined person. For example, he never sleeps late. So when the bright sunlight penetrated the window screen and shone on his face, Qin Luo immediately opened his eyes. Looking at the time on the wall clock, it was only 10 frowny-faced dash in the morning. Qin Luo really wanted to close his eyes and go back to sleep, but out of the self-discipline of Xueba, he let him sit up. Where should we go shopping today? Qin Luo fell in a deep thought. Dong, dong, dong. At this moment, someone knocked on the door of the room. Don't guess, it must be Lin Shanshan's scumbags. You guys can't leave some room for the bullies. Opening the door, it was exactly as Qin Luo thought. Lin Shanshan, Huang Xing, and others stood at the door. With a wry smile, Qin Luo asked quietly, "Is there something wrong? Boss, you don't look happy." Gong, he asked curiously. "Do you think being a top student is very happy?" Qin Luo said. Everyone's eyes lit up immediately. As a terrific top student, you must be very tired, sir. As the saying goes, high places are too cold. As a top student, you not only have to face endless academic problems, but you must also always be on guard against latecomers catching up. Qin Luo must be very tired. His usual indifference is just pretending. He's always at fun. For a moment, Everyone pricked up their ears and waited intently for Qin Luo's answer. Very tired? That's not the case. Qin Luo raised his face slightly, looked up at the sky at 45 degrees, his eyes burst out with brilliance, and sighed leisurely. Actually, what I mean is that being a top student is really very happy. The joy of being a top student is something you scumbags can't imagine. Lin Shanshan. Huang Xing. Ding! The incompetent rage of the scumbag was detected. The host's master value +1. Classmates, you have worked hard. Come early in the morning to give gifts. Forget it. Let's go. How could a top student attend the dance? Prom, what a ball. Qin Luo thought about it seriously. He didn't seem to have received the notice. But as it happened, he didn't want to participate either. If he had time to dance, he might as well study Goldbach's conjecture. Ding! A new mission has begun. The supreme master of the dance forest. Xueba, the tyrant of learning. The light of Xueba should not only be swayed on the podium, but spread all over all walks of life. Reward, Xueba value +1888. Finished? Finished. The corner of Qin Luo's mouth twitched, and he quickly asked, "What dance are you talking about?" Everyone gave Qin Luo a contemptuous look and left on their own. Qin Luo, classmates, you have to be reasonable. Even if you want to despise me, you have to tell me about the prom. Fortunately, Qin Luo didn't wait too long before his phone rang. He answered the phone with an authentic American accent. "Hello, child, I'm Deline." "Hi, teacher." Qin Luo quickly responded. "Deline, that's a big tree in the academic world. Published papers, there are not 1,000 but 800. In front of him, Qin Luo is just a little white flower in the academic world. "How was your rest last night?" "It's okay," Qin Luo replied. "Rest well. There will be a closing ceremony and a party in Birmingham tonight, and you are the protagonist." "Humph, if you don't tell me, there are plenty of people who tell me." "Thank you, Professor. I will attend on time." Qin Luo replied with a smile. "Okay, for 30 p.m., Birmingham Auditorium." Deline hung up the phone. Thinking of the scene of Qin Luo berating Feng Xiu on the podium, he couldn't calm down for a long time. The subject is progressing, and various problems are constantly emerging in the research. So Riemann's conjecture was born, Goldbach's conjecture was born, Jacques' conjecture was born, and Zhou's conjecture also followed the trend. Essentially, they cannot be precisely defined. Since none of them have been proven, it is difficult to determine their difficulty. However, if you use even distribution, you can turn them into 4 grades. The first level is undoubtedly the Riemann conjecture. Level dash, Goldbach's conjecture. The third grade, Jacques conjecture, twin prime conjecture. The fourth grade, that is the just proven Zhou's theorem. While these conjectures have promoted the advancement of many subjects, they have also troubled countless scholars. It is quite rare for Qin Luo to prove 2 conjectures consecutively within 1 month, even in the history of mathematics. Even he can achieve such an achievement. I looked at the time. It was already 12 o'clock. Have a meal. Forget it. Take a nap and refresh your mind. After setting the alarm clock, Qin Luo closed his eyes and fell asleep. Ding-ling-a-ling, Qin Luo's bell rang. Qin Luo shook his head and got up from the bed. Pushing open the bathroom door, sitting in front of the bathtub, took a bath, and put on a new handsome suit. 3-dimensional facial features, capable short hair, strands of light burst out from the pupils. Standing in front of the mirror, Qin Luo was very melancholy. Obviously, you can rely on your face to make a living, but you have to rely on your talent. Alas, it's not easy to be a top student. Enough of the mirror. Qin Luo walked to the window and opened the curtains that hadn't been opened for 36 hours. Qin Luo stretched herself. Ding Xueba's life is not only study, but also life. Congratulations to Xueba for comprehending the true meaning of life. Xueba is worth +188. Heh, even sleeping is upgrading? The corner of Qin Luo's mouth twitched, and his eyes swept across the comfortable big bed, full of nostalgia. Wait, what time is it? Suddenly Qin Luo's expression changed, and he quickly took out his phone. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thinking that there was still a banquet waiting for him, Qin Luo didn't have time to think about it and rushed out without saying a word about wearing shoes. When I went downstairs, I saw that the entire hotel was empty. Has the banquet already started? Thinking about it, it's really possible. After all, this is not China. Foreigners don't know what human feelings are. In Birmingham, the banquet hall was full of people. As one of the universities with a long history, Birmingham's banquet has never lacked big cows, such as Deline, Stanley, Costa, and so on. All of them are for Birmingham. Qin Luo looked around and saw a surprising figure besides the big cow, wearing glasses. Lin Shanshan, who gathered in the corner, and other students who he didn't know. Tesla. To be honest, Qin Luo even admired him a little bit. Although the study is not very good, but the ability to withstand pressure is really strong. Put it in the country. Maybe you can become the master of the pressure-resistant bar. Seemingly noticing Qin Luo's gaze, Tesla turned his head and glared at Qin Luo angrily. Qin Luo could only express his helplessness in this regard, as there are two different creatures between the scumbag and the bully. Ding! The system has detected the anger of a scumbag and the master value of the host +1. Hee, you may not know it, but you have quietly become my nourishment. The closing ceremony was about to begin, and these academic experts gathered together in twos and threes, talking nonstop about a certain theorem, a certain conjecture, what kind of superpower subcollision test, in other words. This made Qin Luo say in his heart, can't afford to provoke, can't afford to provoke. With my little capital, I am afraid that I am not even worthy of carrying shoes in front of these big bosses. Crack! Suddenly the lights in the entire auditorium dimmed, and everyone fell silent. After a while, the lights came back on. An old man with a cane and white beard and hair slowly walked up to the podium. He is the chairman of the International Mathematics Union, the winner of the Fields Award, and the internationally renowned professor Shigefumi Mori in the mathematics world. Let me introduce myself. I am Mori Shigefumi, and I am also the chairman of the International Mathematical Union. The old man pushed his glasses with a smile. Here, I announce that this year's International Mathematical Olympiad is officially over. Thank you for coming, and I hope you will have a good time at the next party. Clap, clap, clap. There was applause, and some young people whistled. In the thunderous applause, IMO officially came to an end. That's the end of it. Qin Luo didn't realize the treatment that a protagonist deserves at all. What about the protagonist? At this moment, Mori Shijuan raised his hands high and then pressed down. After everyone quieted down, he said again, that's right, there is one more thing. While speaking, he looked at Qin Luo. Congratulations, Qin Luo from Huaxia. Your talent is amazing. This bonus belongs to you. Mori Shigefumi waved to the assistant behind him, and soon the bonus was sent up. The bonus is not much, only $US, but the honor he represents is immeasurable. Looking at the bonus in his hand, Qin Luo was stupefied. When he went abroad, he not only didn't spend half of the money, but also made a small profit. Make persistent efforts. I will. Finally, at the last moment of the closing ceremony, Qin Luo found the feeling of being the protagonist. Then it's team time. The color of the light suddenly changed red, green, blue. For a while, the people in the auditorium suddenly became excited. Blonde with big waves, brown with small waves. All kinds of young ladies flashed before Qin Luo's eyes. There were also many unscrupulous blonde beauties who came to Qin Luo with smiles, as if they were going to eat Qin Luo. Handsome guy, can you ask me to dance? A big blonde hair swayed in front of Qin Luo. Originally, Qin Luo wanted to refuse, but thinking about the task ahead, Qin Luo decisively agreed. Okay, as a top student, teaching others how to dance is easy. But before that, you have to wait. What do you want to dance? Latin, will you? Of course. Qin Luo nodded, took out his mobile phone from his pocket, clicked on Baidu, and searched for basic and advanced Latin. Suddenly the entire auditorium fell silent. What the hell is this situation? Grinding your guns before the battle. The blonde wave was completely stunned. What the hell is playing with a snake? She really wanted to remind Qin Luo. Classmate, this is not mathematics, but dance. Learn now and sell now? Haha funny. Looking at the scene in front of him, the corners of Tesla's mouth slightly raised, and he got up and walked toward the dance floor with his partner. Music! Boom, boom, boom. Dynamic music sounded, and Tesla's body shook rapidly. Chic, elegant, and full of explosive power. Tesla was very happy and even had a feeling of elation. He finally has one thing that can surpass Qin Luo. In the field of Wu Dao, he is the king. The wonderful performance immediately drew applause from the crowd. Even the blonde big wave who invited Qin Luo to dance quietly retreated to the side. Academically, Qin Luo is well-deserved number one, and his demeanor on the podium is enough to make people fall in love with him. But now it's not the podium, it's the team. Tesla's charm is greater than Qin Luo's. However, Qin Luo didn't care about the departure of the blonde big wave. He is immersed in the ocean of learning at the moment. Xueba value +1. Xueba value +1. Xueba value +1. In just a few minutes, Qin Luo has thoroughly understood the book. The host studied hard and successfully comprehended the dance, Latin dance. Congratulations to the host, dance level raised to LV1. Without the slightest hesitation, Qin Luo waved his hand and upgraded quickly. Ding, the dance level of the host has increased by LV2. Ding, the dance level of the host has increased by LV3. Level 3 is enough. Looking around, Qin Luo smiled faintly, seeing that the building was already empty. Why did you admit defeat? At this moment, Yilin slowly came to Qin Luo. Her face was happy. Her eyes were bent into crescents. Qin Luo glanced at him and thought to himself, "Classmate, it seems that you haven't understood the true meaning of being a master." "Student, can I ask you to dance?" Qin Luo said politely. "Let me tell you in advance, my dancing skills are not as good as Tesla's. Don't worry, we will win." Holding Yilin's little hand, Qin Luo walked onto the dance floor. As the protagonist, he enjoyed the treatment he deserved. Along the way, everyone made way for him. "Student, do you mind dancing together?" Qin Luo narrowed his eyes and asked politely. "Of course I don't mind." Tesla raised his eyebrows and responded with a smile. At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on Qin Luo and Tesla. One is Xueba and the other is Dance King. Everyone is the focus. In the corner of the auditorium, several burning eyes stared at Qin Luo. Qin Luo can dance. Lin Shanshan asked suspiciously. In his memory, he had never seen or heard of Qin Luo dancing. "I don't know." Huang Xing sighed deeply and said slowly, "Maybe he just learned it." When Qin Luo was reading, he didn't hide anything. That's really cowhide. Lin Shanshan sighed helplessly. She had to admit that Qin Luo was always creating miracles. The dance begins. Boom, dong dong, dong dong dong. I saw Qin Luo stomping his feet on the ground suddenly, making a rhythmic trampling sound, stepping on everyone's heart. His body leaned forward slightly, his feet were straightened, and his right hand was wide open like a bullfighter in a gladiatorial fight. Bullfighting, Latin dance, is the most skillful and passionate dance. For a moment, everyone gasped. They didn't expect that Qin Luo would choose bullfighting. However, before they recovered from their surprise, Qin Luo had already moved. With a sound of, his right foot moved forward and he swaggered towards Oirin. He is a fighter in the arena. Yilin raised her eyebrows unobtrusively and went directly to meet her. Boom, boom, boom. The music in the hall suddenly changed, and melodious battle songs echoed in the hall. On the dance floor, Qin Luo and Yilin were sweating wantonly. The same chic, elegant, but vigorous and powerful. Qin Luo took Yilin's right hand, supported her waist, and threw it upwards. Yilin suddenly jumped high and moved in the air. Just as he was about to land on the ground, Qin Luo suddenly moved. He kicked his feet suddenly, and his body drew a beautiful arc in the air. At the moment Yilin was about to touch the ground, he caught her firmly. The music stops and the dance ends. But everyone froze in place. Their eyes were dull, and their mouths were open for a long time, unable to speak. Qin Luo's dance has completely conquered them. Whether it is skill or appeal, it is many times better than Tesla's. Even compared to professional dancers, they are not inferior. This is genius. This is Xueba. Just by reading books, I learn Latin. Thinking about it is really scary. How could this be? Seeing this scene, Tesla's face turned pale instantly. His body trembled like chaff, and the flames of anger were burning in his heart. Originally, he hoped to save some face in the field of dance, but not only failed to save face, but was slapped mercilessly in the face. Plop! His legs gave way, and he fell to his knees in despair. OMG! How is this possible? The blonde beauty with big waves covered her mouth with her right hand and exclaimed, "This is the man abandoned by her. This is the man he thinks can't dance and is unattractive. Not only can he dance, but he can dance very well. More importantly, he is still a top student. If God gave her another chance, she would put herself in Qin Luo's arms without hesitation. Student, can I have a dance with you?" The blonde-haired big waves walked affectionately, and in those deep eyes, there was no secret of his desire for Qin Luo. "Sorry, not available. Just now you ignored Ben Xueba's answers. But now Ben Xueba is beyond your reach. Want to dance with me? You have no chance." After finishing speaking, Qin Luoyang left. Just leave like this? Everyone was dumbfounded again. Looking at Qin Luo's back, Yilin's beautiful eyes sparkled with brilliance. After leaving Birmingham and returning to the hotel, Qin Luo was lying on the bed like a tiger preying on food, thinking about attributes silently in his heart. The golden subtitles appeared in front of Qin Luo's eyes. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. Mission reward. Xueba is worth 1888 point. Host, Qin Luo. Subject, Mathematics LV5 32588/100000. Chinese LV1. English LV3. Creature LV1. Taekwondo LV4. Latin dance LV3. Fencing LV4. The remaining Xueba is worth 41,567 points. The remaining items, an ability enhancement card, ability value-added card, instantly increase the character's academic level by 2, lasting for 3 hours. Skills, Stormy Pear Blossom, Heavy Sword without front. Looking at the attribute panel, Qin Luo clenched his fists excitedly. Adding in his remaining master points, Qin Luo is only less than 3 points away from being promoted. On the second day after the IMO ended, the Huaxia Mathematical Olympiad team took the opportunity to leave Birmingham and return home. Looking at the white clouds outside the window, Qin Luo calculated in his heart the harvest of this trip to the United States. He has earned tens of thousands of dollars just for being a top student, and more importantly, he has established a certain network of contacts. During this trip, Qin Luo met Deline and Stanley, who are great academics. These contacts are even more important than the value of academic masters. They are like the keys to open the door, opening a door for Qin Luo to enter the academic world. Take Deline, for example. He is the editor-in-chief of the world's most authoritative mathematics journal, Journal of Mathematics, and has countless resources in his hands. As long as you get on an article, you'll get a huge number of academic master points. I don't know when the twin prime number proof will be published in the journal. Qin Luo muttered. As long as the demonstration of the twin function is published in the journal, Qin Luo can guarantee that it can be upgraded. LV5 is already so awesome. What about LV6? What about LV7? Even full level? Thinking about it, Qin Luo's little heart beat uncontrollably.